Futures back in positive territory once again this morning, looking to extend that impressive rally we saw yesterday, coming off big gains right across the board for stocks. The Dow ended the day up more than 600 points yesterday, or 1.8%. S&P 500, 1.8% as well, 8.6 to be exact. And the NASDAQ, 1.62 to the upside at the end of the day yesterday. Fourth positive session in the last 5 sessions, so heading back in the right direction for all 3 U.S. equity markets. Broad-based rally for the S&P 500 as well, all 11 sectors in the green by the end of the day yesterday. Even with the advance, though, all 3 major U.S. indexes still down on the month so far. Overall, 4% last month for the NASDAQ. The Dow and S&P also in negative territory. Individually this morning, big movers to get to here this morning. Snowflake down huge on a bad report from them. Best Buy, I mean, it went red to green already. We'll see what happens here, but a decent report for Best Buy. The forecast questionable, though. We'll get Costco, we'll get Gap, both coming up after market tonight. It's Thursday, March 3rd, 2022. TraderTV.live starts now. We are loading the quote board there, as you can see. We'll get to that in a second here. Weekly jobless claims numbers just out, guys, down about 20,000 week over week there to 215,000. Not a huge miss, but to the downside. Anyways, market holding in positive territory, which is good to see. Huge move for crude oil overnight as well. We got all the way up to 115 for crude, West Texas Intermediate. Brent crude all the way to 120 overnight, or just about 120. We are coming back in, though, back to 112 now, still up positive on the session anyways. For crude oil, let's bring in the guys here and we'll get going, because lots to discuss this morning, guys. Oil markets remain super volatile. We have crypto back on the move a little bit here this morning, but there we go, that's better. Good morning. It's going to be an interesting one here with a number of earnings to get to as well.
Yeah, and I swear it was 116, but does it matter with crude? Like, what volatility? There's no volatility in oil.
112 right now.
Where the players dwell.
Yeah.
So
where the oil dwells.
You know what was crazy, though, was yesterday, just a V-shape on so many things, right? Like, crude made that redonkulous move after 10:30. Now, you had inventories, but you also had Powell going woo-ha to the markets. People like woo-ha, like, yeah, Busta Rhymes way back in the day. It's going to be one of those types of days. Yeah, so everything was rallying, man. Like, even names that were getting crushed, like Citigroup, like some of the banks, just started shooting back into the upside. So hopefully we can get a bit of a continuation there. Some signs that you could try to put in some temp bottoms. Maybe not in crude specifically, because it's been going nuts, but there's a lot of names that have made some nice recoveries, which could get an upward leg today. So I'm kind of hoping to see that. I think Thursday is going to be an exciting one. It's a little bit lighter on the earnings, but to say that there's no action on the earnings front would be to ignore what happened with Snowflake. There's just, when something goes down in the aftermarket on earnings, there's no bid. Just accept it. It's like the liquidity is completely non-existent, and crazy things happen in the aftermarket. It's almost stupid.
That thing lost $100. Like, but yeah, I tweeted this out yesterday. This is a pretty funny little meme here. This is with Fed Chair Powell. You know, like, everybody's like all serious when we had a 50-point, but then in 25. Basis point raise there, and everybody's happy. So yeah, follow that on Twitter. It's gonna be a fun day once again today. I'm gonna be looking at the bank stocks again. We traded those really well the last couple of days with WFC. And then JP Morgan, we didn't trade so well, but we looked at it a couple days ago. So we'll look at Citigroup yesterday, crazy move, and then a downgrade here, plus earnings, plus Ford, plus Rivian, plus everything, Tesla. There's lots of stuff happening. So let's get this party started.
Few interesting earnings in the retail sector we'll get to this morning as well. Kroger up very nicely here on better than expected report for KR. Before we do that, let's bring in Miss V. Good morning.
Good morning, team, and welcome everyone. I wish you a lot of profitable trading opportunities today. Please make sure you like this video, and let's get it started, Brandon.
Yeah, let's get it started, guys. Lots to get through here as we head towards the open. This was the report here for KR. I'll show you the stock here in a second, but nice beat for them right across the board. Forecast looks good as well for Kroger. So 5.8%. I was double checking, not all-time highs, but not too far. I think it's 54 and change or 55 and change. I'll double check again, but 5.8% here. Good report for KR.
Yes, sir. And I like afternoon reports, not the morning ones. You get two sets of levels, man. You get the pre-market and the post-market to be able to see where price action happens there. Now, crazy move. It is still a clean 50 break, and I think that's what you're usually looking for. Like, are you breaking into new territory to see if you can find a little bit of momentum off of that level? So, just a caveat: Kroger's not really doing any volume, and I don't expect it's going to be too crazy here. But I've slept on some of these names before when you get a gap in a clean break, and sometimes you get a pullback that gives you support off that previous resistance. Now, don't do anything until I'm not going to do anything until the open 9:30, but I feel like sitting on the bid in front of 50 here. Like, I want things that are potentially breaking out today, right? Like, if it had that big recovery yesterday and didn't quite get into breakout territory on like your 15-minute or the daily chart, then that's what I want. Is it breaking out today? Is it have a chance to break out today? Not something that's kind of already gone and maybe extended a little bit further. So, this would fit that bill. And Kroger, I haven't really looked at the numbers because they just came out, but just looking at the 50 level, it stands out. I like clean level breaks like that. So when it comes back to dip, you kind of figure there can be some support.
All right, it's we didn't have this on our watch list today, but it's Investor Day for DraftKings, so we'll look out for some stuff coming out here. They just announced, it looks like a long LT adjusted, long-term adjusted, I don't know, EBITDA view, 2.1 billion. Okay. Anyways, we'll talk about that. But I just want to say Target kind of handheld this Kroger trade. Like, Target absolutely a monster the last little bit. They had a huge report. They're up monstrous. They're up about 30% from, not 30%, what am I talking about? 185, yeah, close enough, up to 225 there from that bottom. So 25% here from the bottom for Target. So I feel like, that was sort of the writing was on the wall here for Kroger a little bit. We don't have Kroger or Target here in Canada, so I feel like they're similar, but I don't know, maybe not. 218, when we had Target here, it was like my wife's favorite store. But Kroger's talking about grocery. I know Target has some grocery. Anyways, to the upside here, Target as well. I really like it. I think Target's a better play than Kroger. But again, with the volumes only 4,000 shares, I like to think that this could break the high again here. 226, 227, something like that on Target on the daily. We're getting up here to this 235. I think that's where that wants to go. So this is the healthy stock right now. Target's been a monster when it wants to get going. So I think Target floats up here to 236, 237, and that has to start today. So today we look at this kind of a break right here, 228 from was it yesterday's high or the day before, the earnings day high? So 228. So we'll have to look at that here and see if we can take that out on Target. I think Kroger leading the way on this one.
Bitcoin back to, or drifting at least, back towards that 44,000 mark once again this morning. Note on Hut 8 out here, just before we came on there, at 8 o'clock. They were out with numbers for February, so 289 Bitcoins mined in February, averaging 10.3 Bitcoin now per day on the mining side of Hut 8. There's absolutely no reaction here, but some of the crypto stocks anyways. We'll talk about CAN. They are a software company, AI software company, but they also have a crypto tie as well. So they reported better than expected results. So Hut 8, guys, though, worth a watch.
CAN?
Canon.
Yeah, I didn't even look at Canon here.
We actually don't know if that's how the company's pronounced.
Sure it's Canon?
It's probably Canon, but there used to be a trader on the floor called Canon.
Right, yeah.
So I see it on, like, it looks similar to how he spelled his name, so I say Canon every single time. Well, I think we'll get to this one a bit later. Hut 8, I was just looking at Canon, but I think with Hut 8, you keep in mind, like, crypto prices have been getting to that 45 and then bouncing back and forth. So it's in a consolidation, which might be why Hut's not going to move and hasn't really done a heck of a lot. That's why, look at CAN, which might not have as strong ties, and is another AI name that has a big move today in the other direction, because the three AI names, one down, one I have no idea what to make of what C3AI did, and then CAN. This is your upside runner. You know what? I'm just going to say it now, because we're not going to. C3AI is not on the watch list.
It's not on our watch list.
So here's the thing. It makes this is one of the crazier things after market, right? They come with their earnings, they get the bump up. Snowflake takes a dive. This thing falls from $24 to $19 after market. there's just no bid in the aftermarket on these earnings. And whether it makes rational sense or not, it's just stupid things happen. It's then right back up to where it closed and breaking out right now. So I just kind of feel like if you ever intend on trading something after market and earnings and you go long, like you have to understand that rug pull and then 10, 15%, and then you're staring that in the face. Unless you're willing to stare that in the face and hold overnight, just wait till the next day or a couple of days to buy shares. Because like we see things in earnings season this year or this round that are just almost unbelievable. The reaction. But anyway, C3AI back to the highs. Like I'm watching it today because the price action's looking absolutely intense. But yeah, it's got very, very low volume as well, so it's not very liquid. Snowflake is going to go crazy. CAN is your bigger runner, I think, and at least with that crypto tie. If you do get a breakout, you can sort of kill two birds with one stone. By breakout, I mean Bitcoin breaking out.
Yeah, I didn't even, I forgot about C3AI. I definitely want to look at that. It's ripping right now. Crazy ripping up to 24 bucks after touching 19, like Neil mentioned. Okay, so here's crypto. Like we called this move obviously here, and it's because it happened before, right? We called this squeeze up to 45, and we called this squeeze up to 45. I said 44 both times, but that seems to be good enough, 10%. Looks like Bitcoin stopping right here at 45,000. And I mean, it's just dancing around. We'll see if it does retrace back in. I still like the ties, for Eastern Europe and getting your money out of, obviously the ruble or currencies that are under pressure a little bit. And I feel like, we've had El Salvador make the move. And I'm not going to talk about long-term anything for crypto, but I feel like this little base down here, $34,000, $35,000, has held pretty good. And, I feel like the next move will be back up to the upside here, because you do have this base. Now, obviously, if we take down this 30 grand, then you could go to 10, to be honest with you. But let's just see if we can hold this out right now. And as crypto moves, then yeah, you're going to get moves in big stocks, like a Coinbase. And we've talked about that. Coinbase was the trade of the day not too long ago, right? Now today, I think it was Monday or Tuesday. Now you only got 13,000 shares, and yesterday it was pretty choppy. But again, if we want to take out that 44,000, which we're bouncing around, 43.5 we just said it was, 43.7. And you got to look at some of these highs here for Coinbase, right? So Coinbase yesterday couldn't get really through this 196. That's going to be a level right there. That's starting all yesterday. If we zoom back in a little bit more, this is a very, very much barcoding, not much happening yesterday at all. But we did short this 205. You guys remember that, about as clear as day. We had that short all the way back down. We actually got out at 195, so we didn't have it all the way. But I'm thinking that, if crypto gets going, this is a Coinbase is something you want to look at. Either takes down this 196 or watch out below 190. So it's a good look here. So if you're charting and Bitcoin starts to move, then I feel like Coinbase right now is just sort of dancing around these levels. It's ready to go somewhere. So either a 196 long, which is right here, or this 190 breakdown. So if the market fails and comes back to the downside and you see crypto crashing, let's remind ourselves about Coinbase through 190.
Energy markets remain pretty volatile here as well this morning. Worth a look at crude, guys. We did get a pretty sharp move back in. Topped out around 115 there in the early trading, but all the way back to 111. Trying to hold this area from late yesterday for crude oil. Brent crude, all the way up to 120, almost 120 overnight. So the march higher continues for oil markets.
It's relentless. This was the deepest pullback. Well, it was the deepest pullback in a week. But since it made that parabolic move, there have been several pullbacks. I'm talking sort of about the start of this week, not necessarily last week. I know we had that big pullback there, but it had tried to come back in a few bucks at a time, and it really did look like yesterday going into 10:30 that if things got out of hand, you might actually see a retest of 100, and then it just came right back in. I'm going to look at Oxy because that's just been. I prefer to trade the equity. I think a lot of times you can use a spot as your indicator in that case, and then it gives you another metric to look at when you're adjusting some of your levels and trying to play off of those. So if we do hold that 110 to 111 area, I come right over to Oxy, which has been a favorite thing for me to trade, and say, okay, what's your equivalent price area? It's It's a bit jaded here because 48 for sure stands out as that afternoon bottom. But then remember yesterday, what I really liked was that sort of dip at the open idea, 47.50 to 48, somewhere in that target range. So I think 48 can be broken and still be a bit of a dip buy. And then if you go all the way down through that, 47 stands out like an absolute sore thumb. So I know where the levels are that I like for Oxy in the event that in the event that oil futures can hold that 110 area and then try to pump to the upside. The problem with the breakout for Oxy is, you're right at that $50 range, so you want to see something extreme happening if you want to just take like it's 49.30 a double top. So yeah, it gives you 50, 60 cents, but on this consolidation, you take a break, you're not wrong for $1, so I don't think you want to make 60 cents on a trade like that. That's why I'd rather be buying the dip. Just look at what's happening in crude oil. Like, the best trades have not been trying to catch these highs. It's been giving you dip buys over and over again all week. Like, there's been substantial dips. You sort of let it calm down, and with the exception of the start of the week, and you've been able to get dip buys. So I'm going to go back to that again, but understanding that we are in a consolidation. This is a little bit different. You are actually seeing it hold consolidation, which sometimes can lead to a bit of a pullback. So you have to make sure that oil is holding 110. Otherwise, I don't want any of those longs.
Yeah, I mean, I had the same chart up here of crude oil. It's just dancing around right now, and it's like, I feel like we may have made a temporary top here at 115. I mean, it's just a guess. I feel, as these tensions sort of come through, look, I don't know what Putin's going to do at any time. So, a certain percentage, and I have to find out what it is of the world's oil here coming out of Russia. But, they've sort of put down these sanctions. I feel like that 115 right there, I don't have the volume up, but, decent move to the upside there, failed and came right back in. So right now you're just sort of at that 110 level that Neil was talking about. And I just stay long these names. I don't trade them because honestly, I'm too addicted to looking at the NASDAQ. If I was watching oil futures, then, I would be looking more at some of these plays, but I'm going to leave the oil and the energy patch to those that trade it. It's not one of my fortes there, but I'm still long the XLE, like we've talked about that, and I'm going to stay long probably for a while. I mean, I'm hearing rumors of 150 oil, things like that. So we'll see what OPEC has to say if they put more online or not. And Joe Biden there at the Joe Byron at the State of the Union was talking about energy. So let's just see where we go on it. I mean, it's volatile. You don't get energy moving 9-10% a day. Today it's only moving 1%, which is more normal. But as you can see, it's definitely taking a dip right here. So we'll figure out what oil is going to do. But for me, I'm going to leave the energy trading to the energy traders.
Just going to grab this DraftKings note here, guys. It's 8%, Sean, to answer that question. Russian crude represents about, I was kind of surprised by that, but 8% of global exports. There's a presentation in here. Miss V and I were just trying to figure out how we can post this in the chat, but they posted this presentation for Investor Day. So I'm going to see if I can find a link for this and see if we can put that in the chat for anyone interested in DraftKings for today. But yeah, a little bit lower than you would have thought there for crude oil coming out of Russia, only 8%. Travel names have been pretty weak over the past couple of days on travel fears overall. Airlines, did get a nice bounce back yesterday, but back to the downside here for a few. It's worth noting that cruise lines looking a little bit more stable in the early going here, guys, but travel names active as well.
Yeah, like the other day, if someone was asking about travel in the midst of all this uncertainty, my take was like, if you've got to make a bet on reopening and travel, because look, man, we're not even talking about COVID anymore, right?
Nope.
Exactly. So, but you do have some problems in Europe with travel. Like, it's probably going to be constrained, especially air flight. At least you might think there can be a separation between some of that and what's going on with the cruise lines, because they're at some pretty good levels. Like, you look at like NCLH here, just for example, I mean, it doesn't really matter, like $18, you're getting a support, a nice consolidation happening. So you got a base for some trades off of a level like this, and then you just figure that maybe there's a little bit less downside risk than some of the airlines might have to the headlines. And I don't think that's a perfect way to play it, but yeah, the setup looks pretty good. It probably needs to break 20 to be in breakout territory. Otherwise, I think you're just playing off of a support level if you like the long, or sitting in a swing waiting for it to happen and maybe get back up towards those $24 highs. Like, I think those are your plays here. I'm not really looking at them. There's no catalyst in particular today, but I did want to, before we get too far at hand, yesterday we had the opportunity for the first time ever to have two of our viewers come live to the show and ring the closing bell. So Isaac was here in the chat, and Mohammed, the two of them. And he's just saying, it was great to meet you guys yesterday. Appreciate having us on the show. We appreciate you coming on the show. Tell everyone that they say hi. So thank you guys for coming. Thank you guys for the gift. You didn't have to do it. Two awesome gentlemen. And obviously, we love all of our viewers. It's just really cool to be able to meet some of you guys for real. And the ringing the bell, man, it's a heck of a lot of fun. It was a random thing that just we came up with an lark years ago, I guess, and then now it's just like a tradition. So we had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, I stayed back and talked with them for a little bit after the show. So yeah, what's up, Isaac and Mohammed? What restaurant did you guys wind up going to?
Exactly. Yeah.
I mentioned to them maybe Hemingway's if they wanted to go there. We're right near Yorkville,
yep.
So that should have been fun. So yeah, let's see where they wind up going. If you head to Yorkville, there's a few good restaurants. I said STK is in there as well. Okay, so yes. Anyways, let's talk about travel quickly. What's up to Isaac and everybody? We'll wait for the message in the chat there. What's going on where they went for food? Yeah, so I just want to look at CCL quickly because we've had a couple days here of resistance at this 18. Why doesn't my chart load a little bit better than this? But this 1850 down here. So I just wanted to look at that off the 20-minute here. Now it's starting to load. So, nice downward moves here for CCL shareholders looking to get long. Obviously, it's been a little bit of a rough ride the last couple weeks here, starting off at $24 and now ending up at 19. So that's not great. But these bottoms right here at 1860, definitely something to watch out for. So I already have my bid right now at 1870. I think I put it at 1870, so we'll see if it comes back into this consolidation spot, and then an 1850 drop-off is fine. So we'll wait to see if that happens. But right now, CCL on watch, but not overly, only 240,000 shares. But I love the level down there at 1850 in case the market tanks. Let's take some longs on CCL. Brendan at the big screen.
A bit of a bounce, yeah, for a lot of those over the past couple of days. Here's another one. Southwest on here to the upside today. Evercore liking Southwest. Love ChargePoint. Had a big week already on some renewable clean energy positivity coming through. Biogen top of the list. There's Citigroup. There's two or three analyst notes on the financial group as a whole. They've been under pressure all week long outside of yesterday. So Citigroup on that side of the board. Intel as well. It was interesting. And Snowflake as well, guys. Number of price target cuts for Snowflake.
So ChargePoint's guide was good. Like, good. That's what I'm talking about. That's actually Prince. But yeah, I mean, big guide for them. Good Q. And look, it's got like not really the trifecta, but it's getting pretty close to it. You had the good earnings. You've got a reasonable short flow, 10%, something like that. In that range. You've already bounced off support. Now, you haven't broken out. Like I know I was saying, look for things that are breaking out. You haven't quite broken out of this range, but you have gotten right to that $15 level, which is the 50 period as well. 1550 looms on the daily, so you're right in that target area for a potential breakout. Now, it also has this really, really good price area. 14 even was a top consolidation. You had a recent break. It then refound support down there. So I'm buying in front of 14 on ChargePoint today. I think that's like that key price area. You got a 1380 to 1420 range, so you buy somewhere in there, give it to the bottom. If we happen to get down there, if you don't, great. It can still be that 1550 break on the daily. But ChargePoint, it has everything set up that I don't see a reason why I'd want to be trying to shorten it today. Anything can happen. Like if the stock went to $20, I mean, you watch the show long enough, this goes to 20, I'm probably going to be short. So, but I like the buy in front of that 14 area. So I'll be on the bid in ChargePoint. I don't like a breakout 1550. If it happens, in the pre-market, like it runs up here, makes a parabolic candle. I don't like getting in that way when it's been consolidating. So that's more like a later idea in the morning. Maybe it establishes a range and breaks at 10 o'clock or at lunchtime or the afternoon. Otherwise, I'm looking for dip buys. I'll look for the deep one first. If it wants to just play around with the pre-market lows and sets that range, then I don't mind taking a long off the pre-market lows. That's what I attempted to do in SoFi yesterday, right? And then the first long in SoFi didn't work, and then it actually found the support at the bottom, and then you could make the money back that way. So the approach I have for ChargePoint is very similar, just a much, much stronger setup in terms of the momentum and the actual quarter they had.
Yeah, so there's talk here about Snowflake. Look, Snowflake's fundamentals still remain good. I feel like they're buying that Streamlit, so that, you know, obviously hits their stock. They were down 30% in the aftermarket yesterday. A disaster down here near 185. And you know, when you guide, you know, unfortunately they had a guidance. So what did we write down here? 106% on Snowflake there. Oh, it's not. Yeah, there it is. Lower than. So they expected between 65 and 67, which is lower than their 2022 expectation of 100% growth there on the revenue side. They still did it, man. They beat the revenue number, 383 versus 372, but it's not a great guide. It's all the way to the downside here. Look, I like data and I like AI. You saw C3 AI go crazy, and kind of the opposite here for Snowflake, down to 17, 18%. I still feel like this is kind of, you know, SoFi was up on their numbers and Snowflake is down, but I still feel like this is going to go down even lower right now. I'm not sure why people are buying this in the pre-market. This is not the right environment, even though yesterday we did get the inflation talk from Powell, and you know, the rates and everything like that are only going to be a quarter point. Snowflake did have a nice move yesterday from 252 all the way up to 270. It's kind of been barcoding, but you've seen here on a daily chart for Snowflake, it was 403. Remember, we bought it in here at 240 and then got out of it up here when we broke back down through the 50-period moving average, because I always thought this name wasn't as, you know, futuristic or, you know, the better hold than Palantir, but it seems like they're both just getting absolutely cracked right now. So I don't own any Snowflake shares, and I'm debating getting back in right here at these bottoms. I mean, this 183 held again yesterday, almost to the period here, 184, like whatever this was, back down these lows in May. It came and held that again. So I'm, you know, thinking that you go long here around this 200 mark, you may have a nice little move to the backside here. This is one of those, you know, high Cathie Wood, high value names that don't have much in the way of value as far as a value stock, but valuation and a huge growth name. So I actually like Snowflake here, but I feel like today it goes to the downside. And I'm not sure who's buying this in the pre-market. Maybe people that got caught off sides with some calls, maybe. I don't know if that was a smart move or not, but you can see it's a nice move to the downside. And I'm really thinking that we take this out and then probably go short. You got to watch out for the spread, though. It's going to be crazy. So I'm going to be looking at like probably a 210 break maybe to the downside here. I don't want to use all these levels because I don't think it's really going to matter that much. It's just if you're short, you're short, and if you're not, you're not. I mean, it's going to be that simple. You do have the upside break of 218 if that does happen. We're still a half hour away. It sucks for Snowflake shareholders, but it's a nice bounce back, and I really feel like people that read the number, plus whenever you buy a company like that Streamlit, and we're going to find out, I'm not sure how much. I meant to look how much they paid for this, but you know, that's obviously going to affect your numbers when you're not making any money and then you're spending it on, you know, we saw
800 mil.
800 million, yeah. So they spent more than their total revenues. They spent double their total quarterly revenues on Streamlit. So they're, you know, it's a play for the future. I like it down here at 180, but for today, I feel like this is a short for a bit. So we'll have to watch it. I'll put it on our radar. I'll put it up, but Snowflake, not great.
Yeah, we'll have a look at how things get going here for Snowflake this morning. Crude oil, guys, tumbling right now. Big move down here. Just sliced right through 108. We're coming back towards 107. They're saying that new deal with Iran could be completed by the end of the week, which would see them increase output once again. So that seems to be the move down here for oil and oil stocks. At the same time, the overall market is ripping right now, back to the upside through 4,400 for the S&P. We'll get Arun in here in a second, but you got to be careful, I think, with some of these oil stocks today, moving back to the downside on that headline. Speaking of, if we're good, guys, let's bring in Arun and get a look at the overall market, see what we need to be aware of again today. Back to the upside, 2 days in a row here, Arun.
And it looks like we're finally getting through that 44.10 area. We're sitting at 44.08. That 10 is most likely to go with crude falling apart right now. Crude's at 107. So there is some movement across the board in related, well, not related, but oil and in equity markets moving at the same time, opposite directions. So here we are looking to take 44.10. If that goes, I'm starting to look longs. This is the level we've been looking at for shorts in the last little bit. Now we're going to flip directions once that goes, and we're going to look for longs. Now, for first stop, I'm going to look is if we can get above 10. I want to see how much volume is left on the sell side. I want to see what we do if we were to come back down through 10. Now, if that holds up well, I'll go for a long, use 90 as a stop. If we don't hold up well, I'll let the market come back down. We still have 43.30 as a potential secondary level as well. So you have the option to either go for the long if the strength is there and use 90, or if we fall off a little bit, then see if we can grab a long in the 60 area, 43.60, using 43.30 as the potential stop. So two options there for longs, depending on how this market wants to get through this 10 area. Now, if we were to extend even higher up, we've got that level at 4,500 that's been in place since, when is this? This is about early February here. 4,500 is what I've got up top. Once we enter 44.60, north of 45.50 into 44.50 into 44.60, I'm looking for potential fades. It all depends, though. Again, if you get the strength through this 10, it means the market's going to be in a buy-side move, so you're going to have to wait for the setup. So I'm going to look for potential setups. If the market wants to run up, let it run up. But if it starts slowing down and setting something up, then I have the ability to go for a short there through 44.60 into 4,500. Those are the only few levels, and we are now sitting at 15. So I'm going to start looking for some longs. But again, I want to see how much selling is left if we were to come back down. All of this is happening at the same time. Let's just take a quick look at crude. Crude now down 2.5%. Okay, so there's a lot of movement there. And those are the reads that I've got. Again, you have two options for a long and a potential fade if we get north of 44.60.
So thanks, Arun. Yeah, going to be interesting to watch both of these this morning. If you missed it there, guys, they're saying that new deal with Iran could be done by the end of the week. That would see them increase output, which would put obviously more oil available into the overall market. 0.8 now for the S&P, as Arun was saying. Very, very strong here. Let's get into what else is moving around here in the pre-market if you haven't done so yet. That is the link to the morning watch list, guys. We send it out every single morning before we come on at 8:30. Miss V will help you out with the link to that in the chat. She also has the link to that DraftKings note that I was showing there early on. So if you're anyone interested in that presentation for Investor Day, Miss V will have that link in the chat as well. We talked about Snowflake there in depth, guys. So let's jump down to Best Buy. Better holiday quarter than expected for Best Buy. Their forecast pretty good so far as well. It was a little questionable when it came to supply chain. I mean, we've heard this story over and over again with these retailers.
Yeah, I mean, look, when you talk about the guide and they're blaming it on the supply chain, when they came with a buyback and overall, sometimes it's again about like the momentum plan. I think Best Buy, the retail names have been beaten up enough. It almost feels like, and for the better names out there, I think people are just seeing all kinds of opportunity. You throw in like the div, and there's just some reasons why you're going to have some buyers. Now, obviously, look, what just happened in the overall market with that, keep in mind, like oil prices too high, bad for the economy. If you can bring them down, that's just sort of good for the overall general economy. I mean, you're going to get the move up in the futures, which has now changed some of the litmus here. But while that was happening, Best Buy had been pulling back here in the pre-market. It had already made a big run and is going to end up pulling back. When we just had, that news, it's not really running with everything else. So it looks like it's moving to the beat of its own drum. When I came in, I said I like to support at 99 when I was looking at the daily. And I'm going to stick to that. I like the 99 area. The other thing I'm going to be watching, of course, is not of course, is going to be 103. A bit tricky to see here on your 15, but if you go back to the daily chart, this is where we're breaking out from on Best Buy. So it's got a $4 channel, which is huge, that I think it can be a buying range. So I'll have to let it fall back into that channel as opposed to just trying to pick something up right here. Clearly you had that reversal in the market. It's a little bit concerning to see essentially Best Buy not participate at all, but do keep in mind the initial reaction on the guidance was for it to go down, and then it has been recovering all morning. So I feel it didn't just rally because it had already come up significantly from overnight levels. So I'm not going to put that strike against it just yet, but it's a little bit concerning that we just had what was fantastic news and a blowout in the market, and Best Buy just sat sideways on pretty decent volume right now.
Yeah, it wasn't like it was a good quarter, but our notes don't really you know, they fell short on a lot of things here and blame some supply chain, but it's up that 4%, so it's nice. You know, you're always going to look at 100. I mean, and that could come in and play again here. I'm not super excited about this name, although it's done 1 million shares, which is real good. Came back in, now it's going to be testing lower. The market's rallying like crazy here on oil. So, I mean, oil is going to the downside now, down 2.5%, touching 108, but it did touch 106 there. So oil moving around. Look, Best Buy, it's a good name. I like it. I think it's, you know, one that you can own. It made that bottom of 80 bucks. It's now holding out. I think you have some nice support here, like I was saying, around 100, you know, $98, $100, something like that for a Best Buy. But, you know, it's not... It's a dividend play as well. They have a 3% dividend, so you know you get 4% today on the move, plus you get the 3%. And that obviously that's going to be yearly. But I like it. Like I said, I think this 96. I think it's held that. There's nothing in the report that's going to scare us away from buying this name if you do get back into the 90s again. So I think that's something worth looking at around this 94, 95 area for Best Buy. So that's something that I'm looking at, and we'll see where it goes from here. But Best Buy on the radar today. It's just with so many things moving around, like Microsoft. I don't even have Microsoft on the sticky note today. It's moving. It just took out 300 with a nice move to the upside here as well. And you can see on the minute chart, we're just taking out levels. It just took 300 and ripped the 303 right here. And again, this is on some pressure being relieved in the oil market, and then hopefully some good talks here between Russia and Ukraine. Apparently some stuff happening as we speak right now. So a nice move to the upside here for a lot of these tech names. So I think that's where my mind's going to be today, and on the banks, which we haven't even talked about yet.
Yeah, they are set to have some more talks today, Russia and Ukraine, apparently. We'll see if anything comes from that. Another one that showed a lot of strength late in the day yesterday was Tesla, right back to 880, 875 area by the end of the day. Positive here as well, trying to benefit from this overall market move. The Berlin Gigafactory officially going to be announced as approved today in a press conference. So a little bit of positive, not a huge note. I mean, this was expected to come, but back to these levels from yesterday here right now for Tesla.
Yeah, and again, I'm going to throw congratulations to Ms. V for her shorting the top of Tesla yesterday, about that 885 area. Well, we're back there again. So look, on your 15-minute chart in Tesla, the news, I don't think it moves the needle here. Like, we're going up because the market's running because they love that Iran deal. But Tesla needs to break out of this consolidation. Trading inside of the range. Like, when you see this, and that's why I'm throwing the kudos out. Like, when you see a stock start to form a channel like that, and then you get a chance to find resistance at the top and trade inside of it, well, great. It never broke out. So if you were waiting for a breakout or had been waiting for Tesla to get back above 885, 890-ish and make a run at 90, or if you're a bear and you want it to break 850 and fall back to 800, well, you've been doing nothing with the stock all week long. And maybe today's the day that we actually get that breakout on this. And we've had two things, and we had the deal, but then yesterday, of course, we have Powell, I don't want to say pumping the brakes on rates because the market had already priced back in the 2.5, but he confirmed it, right? So it sort of went from something that the market was betting on to something that they're now we're just sort of certain about. And yeah, maybe that's going to get us that little temporary bottom breakout on Tesla. I think you're looking at 890. You do have 900, which looms right away. So I think being a little bit nimble off of the open and willing to sort of take like the midpoint of that range, like 870, 875, that could give you a better entry point. That's why I'm looking to buy dips. It's a similar setup to what I'm looking at in ChargePoint. But if you've been trying to short this off of those levels, I don't know how much I love that today, especially with that deal news coming out here. I think the third time is not necessarily a charm. It worked twice in the morning to short these levels on a pop. I'm not sure you want to be doing that today.
So here we go. Just a quick look at the imbalance locator here because a couple names that I'm going to be talking about, and Neil just mentioned ChargePoint, is here on a buy. They're very, very light numbers, though. AI, we've talked about a little bit today. That's on the buy side. PaySafe, a buy again after falling a little bit yesterday back into some levels that I like, and we'll talk about that as well. But I want to go through Ford. We're talking about Tesla right now. Let's talk about one of my best trades yesterday, which was Ford. Let it come back into the downside here and load it up. We did take an early bid in here somewhere, like 1780 or something when it came back in, and we had to massage that before loading it up when it came back down into here into 1750. So Ford again with a nice little 8% move yesterday. You see this big number 1670 came in yesterday, touched out 1796. It closes yesterday 1820 or so. Actually, I guess it closed the downside, 1810 And then now today you're getting bumped up again. So, I mean, look at the trend, right? It's pretty clear. For those of you, you can draw some nice little lines here. Take it like this right there or so. You can see this is the level that we're talking about right down here, 1750, 1760. Then it's tick, 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 up into these levels, 18, where we were yesterday. And right now we're dancing with that at a pretty good line here. Dancing with that right now at 1830. So for me, I've written down on this sticky note, find it at Trader TV, Sean, that we were going to watch out for 1850 break, which didn't happen, but it almost did. And then obviously any buyers down here near 18 needs to be supported. I'm already bidding down here with a decent amount of shares on Ford. I think it can work today. And then here's the 1850 that I'm talking about on the daily. We're trying to break out right now. So if it does, great. We do want to take an 1850 break, which is the high of the day. We're 20 minutes in right now, so I'm not super excited about taking a break off the open. That's what screwed us the last couple days. Even though I like it, even though I like it, 1850 is going to be on watch, but I'd rather take it like at 935 or something when the real buyers are in, not like a sort of a panic right off the open. But everyone, do not panic because Miss V is in the building.
Hey guys, welcome everyone who just joined us. We already have almost 5,000 people watching, and I kindly remind you, please give a like to this video. And now let's continue with Brandon.
Yeah, let's get through a few other names here, guys. Rivian on the watch list as well this morning after that huge move down yesterday. 20% price hike for RIVN, along with Ford, another big mover yesterday. Boeing just popping back up here as well, guys, on note for a new order, it looks like, for a Chinook helicopter. So heads up on Boeing back towards 200. But a few people asking about Rivian here.
Look, Rivian obviously got crushed yesterday. That was that breakdown that we were sort of talking about. Like, watch something or get something when it's breaking key support or resistance either direction. And you had that floor at about 60, 70 or so. This gets taken out. You can see where the first consolidation was. That's right at $60. So in the event that you get that break, that's your cover short, and then you see it fall all the way down to 53. Now, if you look at the all-time low, we're still sitting above that 50. Might get challenged. I thought it was a better chance to get challenged before we just had the market bump up in the pre-market there, but this didn't go anywhere on that move. So it feels relatively weak to me still. As much as 53 for a break might get you that buck down to 52. A first look on Rivian is watching that double top in the afternoon at about 55 and 55 change. If it tries to break this, like try to, it's almost like you zoom in, ignore the crazier part of the action and just say to yourself, is this really making a recovery? It makes that base. Maybe it makes a double bottom today, but if it can't get past that 55.5, to me, it's a fade, and you still have downward trajectory on that price raise until it can break back above that level. So sometimes you like to just play the direction, even if it is extreme, until it's not, and that's what I'm leaning towards Rivian. It gets above 55.5. And then you start talking about the gap in the other direction, and that's a couple of bucks. You get stubborn with that short, you can get absolutely crushed. So I don't believe that makes a lot of sense to do.
KR, we talked about briefly to begin with there. Kroger, all-time highs possible today, maybe as we get up to above that 50 level for KR. But decent report, decent forecast as well for Kroger here.
Talk quickly about it. I mean, I'll be on the bid in front of 50 on the daily chart. It's not just a round number. It's the previous high, that 50 level. So if it wants to give a dip, there's not a heck of a lot of volume to go off of right now. So I'm just going to stick with that. Like if I can catch it at the open and it wants to fill the gap in back to the downside, that's the way that I'll play it. But on a low volume, in rarefied territory here, and so many names that are bouncing off of support, that have been basing out and looking to make a rally, and people are trying to get the money back in. Yeah, I don't know that I want to be chasing one that doesn't have that volume catalyst going with it. And just not to skip ahead, but to also kind of skip ahead because it is on the move just a little bit here. INDO has been all over the place this pre-market. Just remember, trade this with caution. 1.5 million share float. And yes, it just broke through $20, but it's been through 20 bucks a few times today already. That was that big level a few days ago. So yeah, was it a few days ago? Yeah, it was. I think it was last week actually, when it just barely broke out at 16. I was really hoping we'd get a $15.5, $16 break today. We're gapping above this, but that $20 level has been back and forth. I don't think it holds as much significance as it did when we were talking about this in the afternoon. I was looking for dip buys before it went to 22 in the 17 to 19 range. I think 19, 20 is one channel you can play. If it breaks that, then you're looking back all the way to 17 just because you're in front of that 16 area. Otherwise, shorting it above 20 bucks, got to be 25, got to be 30. I paid for the shorts just in case, but it'll be round numbers or halts. No sort of jumping in front of a level unless it's incredibly significant or it's halted a couple of times. And it is it's one of those high probabilities to halt if it takes out the high. It can halt in either direction, but only a 1.5 million float and the short interest. It's a pure liquidity squeeze play at this point.
Wanted to touch on the other bigger oil companies as well, because I just brought up CVX here. This was all-time highs. This was all-time highs yesterday. Now we're trying to come back in with crude prices, but as we said, we just went almost 106 back to 109. So going to have expanded ranges in mind today as far as what some of these can do. But what do we think here, guys, for oil stocks, the bigger ones anyways?
Well, one of the reasons why, when I was talking about the trade, it's like anything you do in the equity, with 110 breaks, forget about it. Like, you have to make sure that the level holds if you like the long. 150 was a good short on CVX the other day when it got to the top. Chevron and 155 was a good level yesterday when it got to that price the first time, and it gave you the pullback. I took it the second time through and then didn't hold on because of the inventory number. So if we're going to hold below 110, then that's a lot. Like, I'll go right back to the well. I'm shorting in front of 155. Any kind of a pop, 54 to 55 on Chevron. As long as we're now holding previous support turning into resistance, then I want to be fading these off of some of the same levels that worked when it would stall the rally. So that'll be the approach on Chevron. I've just been going long Oxy when I want to go long and short Chevron when I want to play a short. For whatever reason, it's just Oxy's had so much upward momentum when it runs that it's just felt like it has better expansion. So I've been leaning in that direction, so I'm going to stick with it.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't really been looking at too many oil stocks, so I'm just sort of going to stay in my lane here and stick with some of the names that I like. But yeah, look, I think that the best way to play this is just through the ETFs. You have the OIH, the oil holders. You have XLE, and then there's a bunch of different, highly levered ETFs as well to oil. So you can always look at something like that. But this XLE's come in a little bit here. I believe on any dip, forget about all this. Look, it's moving today. Oil, we've already looked at the oil chart. I know Neil just had it up here, but, it's been pretty violent down to 106 and now back up to 110. Like, some of these moves are, don't normally happen in a matter of 30 minutes, but it's been pretty volatile. And I just feel like oil still has a lot to go to the upside here. There's a lot of talk. Not just the Russia, but this sort of started before. There's still some uncertainty in China as well. And oil is going to be remaining part of the problem. We have inflation, the prices at the pump still going up and away. I like XLE here, and I think that you could just buy this on any dip. So I'm going to wait for it to come back into 68 or 70 and then buy it up. But I think you stay long energy, and you want to trade the equities, great, but again, like Oxy's been moving a lot. I think that's a good one. And then you've seen XOM today. I was looking at it during that oil drop. We actually moved quite violently to the downside here. I believe it was 81. I was going to say 81 down to 79, like $2 straight to the downside here. So yeah, it looks like 80 is a good level for XOM. But again, I think that because of today's news with Iran, probably once this market, the oil market's already open. So I was going to say maybe when the equity market opens, something will happen to oil, but I don't know. The oil traders are here. They know what they're doing better than I do, obviously. So I would just look at XOM from a technical standpoint. And we really like $80. And then I think this short makes sense here, 81.50. So unless something dramatically changes here between Russia and Ukraine, this 81.50 of yesterday's high, forget about the open, but when we battled back here, I think that would be a level to look at. So it still needs to come back up. It's the high of the day. It's the high rate there. Either you short this $81 and use that as your out, or if you're bullish, take 81.50 long.
A few notable names popping up on imbalance increases, guys. Apple, Ford, SoFi, AMC, and JP Morgan. AMC we had on the list yesterday following earnings, ended up not being much of anything to look at. I wanted to mention this as well. Let's go to the cannabis sector because we haven't talked about cannabis stocks for quite some time. Little one here, Hexo popping up this morning, 18%, little penny stock Hexo. On this note, they're going to sell $211 million in debt to Tilray. So both Hexo and Tilray, a little bit active on that. But I saw a few people talking about AMC this morning as well.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything. We will hit the marijuana or the cannabis. What am I allowed to say? So we don't get banned. There it is. There's the YouTube. But you can see here the Batman. You can see here for Tilray. I just called it up. There's actually absolutely nothing. So I don't think there's really much to do about nothing here for Tilray. 210,000 shares, not much going on. You said it was Hexo. So let's look at that here. That's a NASDAQ name? Yeah, 67 cents. Yeah, wow. Some of these names, man, I mean, I just feel like unbelievable, the destruction that's happened in the cannabis space. I was looking at a lot of these names, even just today. I was like, wow, like just to see this is just disgusting. I mean, what are you going to do? $2.70 all the way down here, touched 40 cents. I mean, Hexo right now, 4.3 million shares. It actually looks like not a bad trade to make today. So we'll watch out for the volume on this name. If it gets going, maybe this is a Reddit pump. Maybe this is something like that. If they can see the volume, maybe they get this going. So watch out for Hexo. If it takes out this top from not yesterday, from the 11th, I guess, 75 cents. I mean, that's a level to look at. And what else did we mentioned?
I mean, I was taking a look at banks there. I know cannabis and AMC wasn't really moving.
AMC, that's what it was.
Yeah, I pulled up AMC. I didn't really see it moving, so I still think you have that. I mean, I'll go there, and we'll talk Citigroup in a second. So, you know, it's making small moves to upside just to get green on the session, but the volume is equally disappointing to the pre-market yesterday, which was, I guess, a bit of a feint, because when it did dip, you then made that bottom when I guess everything pretty much did. When the Fed turned things around, well, not the Fed, when Powell specifically turned things around during his testimony in Congress. And I think that's the same area of support. It's a wide range that gets 17.5 to 18. There's not much of a change. You have overhead 1940, 1950 that sits there for any breakout. And I think that's what you're looking for. Like, I'm just looking for that to make a breakout out of this top end of the range. It's consolidating nicely here, but it has yet to take out the top. So when it's doing that, I mean, the dip buys feel like the way to go. I said I'd talk to banks in a quick second. So if you do remember, Citigroup had that multi-day level on the daily chart that was 57.5. It was a good short. It gave a buck a couple of times. Then Powell did his thing, reversing the markets. But look, it's now a failed break in one of those V-shapes below. And when that happens, you know, I know they caught some downgrades, but realistically, to me, it just becomes a long defense in front of that established level. So I'll be bidding in front of 57.5 on Citigroup today, looking to play the range up to about $60. So I want to be buying, looking for that support level to be reestablished today on Citigroup. It was a good break. It was fine. It looked like it was going to be a monster. And then, you know, things happen and you had to be able to switch gears.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to Brendan at the big screen or not, but it's 9:22. Let's just do a quick little check here on the imbalance locator. Ford on the board there. Yeah, we're getting ready to get rocked and rolling here. I was just dealing with something else on the side. But yeah, Ford right now, this is going to be my biggest play of the day. C3AI starting to go upside as well. We've talked about that a little bit here today, off of a nice number. And again, another name that's just been really beat down here to $18, $19. The daily chart on C3AI is pretty disgusting. So again, like just straight to the downside. I mean, a lot of these names look like that. I did want to check back in, and just so you guys know, Ford is again a name that, hey, was C3AI a New York stock? Yes, it was. I like Ford. You can see here, definitely barcoding here, but now starting to get back to the upside. So with the market up 0.85, I think Ford takes out this 1850 today. I mean, that's not a rocket science call. It's at 1830. So 1850 probably gets taken out, and then you could see a little bit of a move up. I don't think we get to 20 bucks or anything today. We had a nice 9% move yesterday on Ford. So if it takes out 1850, let's just let it fly a little bit. The previous high is 1860. Not the previous high, but in the last couple of weeks, we've gotten as high as 1860 before fading all the way back down in. So let's see if we take it out. It's big momentum here for Ford. We've already drew that line for you guys on the 1 minute, which is now off because that's just how it works. You can see this to the you just draw this right here. It's a nice little angle. We had this consolidation down here at 1780, then again at 18, and now we're consolidating up to the top at 1830. So my first bid is at 1820 because I feel like we will get a dip down in. I don't know why I feel like that. It's just, if you saw yesterday on Ford had a monster day yesterday, rallied up to the top side, and that's what I'm saying. I took this breakout here at 1760. It went to 18. That's great. We crushed it. We made some nice money, but then it came back down in, and really this reload area is really where you want to get your money into. So that was a good spot. The break was good. So yeah, maybe we'll play the break again, but it's 1845. So, you know, the real break would be about 1840, but that's where we're at. So let's see if we get a little bit of a dump down in. If it does take 1850 real quick, we will punch the long. But again, the real, you know, the bigger shares will be happening on any kind of a dip down where we see some consolidation on Ford. I like the name. I think it continues to work. It is breaking out. So as long as, you know, the environment doesn't change here today, I don't see Ford even really breaking 18. So if that's the case, then we're going to be long Ford.
All right, hard not to trade these little energy stocks today, or at least have a look at them. INDO, one of those. IMPP, the other one. The only thing you need to know about this, 1.5 million free float on INDO. That's part of the reason why it's up here. Just note that it will trade somewhat with crude oil. So we had that pullback this morning in crude. This thing followed that to 19.5. You can use 19, which is that low as well. Very dangerous to take that break above 22, in my opinion. See what happens if we get a pullback back into that 19.5, 19 area. But 1.5 million free float, going to have to show its hand here, guys, for INDO.
Yeah, you make a really good point about that. Like, these energy names, they do sort of, even the small cap ones have been running while this has been going on. And you get a reversal there in crude. If it holds resistance, you have to start thinking about where there can be a reversal for them as well. IMPP 250, 250, and 250 is pretty much the only thing I'm looking at here. Here's your nice little head and shoulders 2 days ago. 250 and then up to 280, then held that, plunged off that level. You did have a, whatever. I was in and out of like a quick trade there to the long side, but 250 just got tested and then pulled back. So pop and fade off of 250 is what I'm looking at on IMPP. You can guess which level I like there. Look, INDO is still running, and that low, it's just absolutely crazy. Like, that's a smaller one, 1.5 million float, but they're still both pretty small. But that's a crazy one, and I want to let that settle down. The level at 250 is a little bit, I think, safer to play to the short side than trying to pick a more aggressive short on INDO, which still has that high flyer status. I still want that to like halt or go to 25 or something.
One stock that INDO, isn't that just a 1.7 million share float or something? It's really light. Yesterday we absolutely destroyed, and it's not on here, but Rivian was like a big time stock for us as it just went to the downside yesterday. Wow, we shorted this $60 and it crashed, and we had a nice, I think we got out. Where did we get out again? It must have been down here when it broke. 50. No, it was in here. 56, 57. I think it was. I think we were at $5. I don't know where we were, but anyways, we held Rivian. We got out of it. It was a great trade. No, we must have got out of it down here. Yeah, this is where it was. 54 or so. It did touch this 55.50 here. So if we just actually, let me zoom this back in a little bit here, or back out. Crap. This looks bad. Hold on. There it is. Let's use this. So we tested these highs again, 55 through the day yesterday. Look, Rivian upping their prices 20%. I said that yesterday, not a great environment to do that. It was my biggest trade yesterday. Most profitable trade was AMD, and we'll look at that again today, but Rivian definitely falling back down. And then into today, I already have an offer right now on Rivian at 55.80. So up here to see if we can 55.80? Oh, I guess it's should be maybe 54.80, the top right here. But anyways, we're going to see what Rivian does near the top side here. I don't know. The market's up that 1%. I still like a short, maybe into 55. I'm not sure why I'm at 55.80, but we'll double check that. But Rivian definitely on watch today. Looks like it wants to take out some of these bottoms. I mean, you're only up 1.5%. Here's the consolidation. And there's 55.50. So I wrote down on the sticky note that we wanted to 56.50 would be the short from yesterday. So that's where we touched out to. So let's see what happens to Rivian here today. We're going to short this thing up to 56.50. Brendan?
Somebody was asking about that Boeing note that I mentioned, guys. Here it is. I can show it to you here. The contracts from the U.S. Army. Wait for it. There we go. It's a U.S. Army contract here for 6 additional Block 2 Chinook helicopters. worth about $195 million, coming through again from the partnership with USA SOAC for Boeing. But as I said, just back to 200, not a huge move there.
And just a couple of things started to pull it back in here. AMD, which was just screaming off of 117 to that 120 level, sort of reestablishing yesterday, that just fell like $1 and $1.50. I'm actually on the bid in front of 117. I think 116 is your support. 30 seconds to go. I see you guys talking about Tesla, which is pulling back. So another name pulling back in here. So we'll see off the open. I'm looking at, of course, IMPP I just talked about to the short side of the trade. Charge point with 20 seconds to go. I want that long if it can dip back in. Miss V is on the bell. She's locked and loaded and ready to go. It is almost at hump day. It's Thursday. Let's get this party started. Oil all over the place. Market pulling back after a big rally there on that old news. 3, 2, and 1. Ring it, Miss V.
All right, thank you, Ms. V. We are now getting ready to rock and roll on your daily. Right, we just got into something. What was it? Ford. So Ford down. See, this is the dip we're talking about. Ford down to 1820 right now, and rocking and rolling. So we'll watch out for Ford here, trying to make a move to the upside. Now we're long at 1820. It has not opened yet, so that's where my concern is. We're also looking to short Rivian if it gets up through 55.
Yeah, and well, there comes AMD. Did I just get missed by maybe 5 or 6 pennies at 117.5? Not Rivian, sorry, AMD there. I think you said Rivian. IMPP, that just made the pop up to that 25 area, sorry, $2.50 area. Oh, come on, give me the fill, give me the fill. Yeah, I just got 46s up there. So I said 250s level. It did briefly break it, so I think you're giving it a couple of shekels past that 250. But we're looking for the pop and fade in that name. INDO, which is the other small cap, that is, oh my goodness, of course. I go IMPP because it has the bigger float and a little bit safer. INDO does make the big fade. Just went 23 down to 21. Big time movement backside here in a couple of these names.
Yeah, we're going to wait to see if we can get something here on Ford to the upside. It's still not open yet. There goes Rivian to the downside. Unfortunately, this is another name that we have on our sticky note that just, was not able to get into. We were hoping for a little bit of a spike off the open, and that doesn't seem like that happened. So we'll have to wait to see where that's going. Now, another look on what we had written down here. What about Citigroup? Citigroup was a name that we wanted to short. We actually didn't get into that too much today. Oh, crow. It's on the list here. We wanted to see if it was a 58.50 breakdown. So it just touched 58.50 here. That was on our sticky note. So there's the break of 59. It just bounced off 58.50. So I'm thinking that this is a good opportunity to maybe get a short in here for Citigroup. Let's do that right now. Citigroup short.
I got that AMD. I'm trying to get more shares of AMPP, but AMD testing that pre-market low at 117. Much like every single dip buy, if it cannot hold this level, I'm going to get out and try and reestablish. I just got my Ford at basically the same bid as Sean, so no point going over that one again. I just like that, and we talked about it in the afternoon show. It's just been on the midst of a nice little break, and that 18 holds up pretty well. INDO continues to look weak. I got to find my way into this one. If it's going to be a reversal play and just shooting to the downside, another run at a double top at 23 is going to be fadeable. But that would mean I'm in both IMPP and INDO at exactly the same time. Kick myself over charge point. Charge point goes down, holds 15. I'm at 1490 instead, and then starts to bounce. So not too happy over this. That's the first level I wanted in front of the pre-market lows. All stepped up to 1505. It looks like that's holding up a little bit better than AMD. AMD stopped me out and then managed to hold 117. But charge point actually had the good news, so a bit of a different story there as opposed to AMD just off of support levels. Charge point has a lot going for it today, including that short float.
Yeah, okay, so all right, here we go. We are now in Ford as the market comes to the downside. We talked about taking a very small bit at 1820. We did that, and then we loaded it up. I said I didn't see this thing breaking 18 today, but guess what? It just broke 18. So, yeah, PayPal looking thick. What does that mean? We'll look at that, Sonny, in a minute there. But for right now, I got more money on my mind here because I'm losing some money with this Ford trade. So down here, I'm looking at the 1770 area. When you're wrong on a name, you don't need to be wrong all day. So let's just wait to see how far exactly this thing wants to go down. I'm looking at this 1775 area of yesterday. We talked about that was a possible consolidation area. So that's something that we're going to look at 1770 actually, and then down into here 1740. But who knows where we're going? We just average in again. Citigroup back down to the downside, so 5860. We're now short Citigroup to see where this name goes. I like a 5850 58.50 break. Let's put some bids here at 58.20 to capture some of that. But right now, really the only thing that I'm worried about is this Ford trade.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be in the same thing with you. I had 17.75. I had a channel down there, 25 cents below 18 that I liked. So I'll give it a little bit of room, but not too much. And as usual, some days it's just one direction coming in, and I only have one thing to that short side. I don't have that INDO. I do have INPP. I got the reload at 40s, so was able to take another leg in. And once it goes, I mean, we're talking about a 250 break. I got to be taking some out on a $2 stock when it gives you the first 10 cents of the move. Checking back in on what happened to Tesla, it managed to hold at 775. Man, there's another one. So 875, I should say. That bounces off 875. That's another level I like for a bounce and didn't get. So a bit frustrated that I wasn't looking more heavily at Tesla, but it's already come and gone off that level. C3 AI, by the way, just churning to the upside.
Really?
Yeah, so look, this thing fell to $19 after market when Snowflake died, and then gaps up as if nothing happened and then starts breaking out here. Now, there is a short interest in the name, but it just put a wick-off-ish top up there, and the 50 period, $27. I don't think we got into this one, unfortunately, guys, but 27 to 27.5 is the top on the daily. And when I say a wick top, that's what I mean, 26.5. I think this might be a fade if it tries to make another pop at that 26, but we probably should have had that. I can at least bring the register and do a shot for INPP. I just wish I was able to get INDO as well, but that was a little bit too hairy to want right away off the open. What a gorgeous drop that was when oil reversed. Brendan?
Big mover yesterday, late in the day. We mentioned this one, CISO, popping up here, guys, on decent volume so far. Back to $6, where it was in the pre-market yesterday. Huge volume spike there at the open, though, for CISO.
No, CICO or whatever it was. Okay, all right. Well, we are now pretty much all in here for Ford. You know, it looks like I'm going to have to expand here a little bit. It is bouncing off that 775. And again, like the same thing happened to me again here today because like, it's so frustrating. Wow, Rivian back up to 55. We're going to have to slow our roll here a little bit.
This is a level on Rivian, though.
Yeah, this is a good level for Rivian, but we're going to have to slow our roll a little bit because we're already well invested here into this name. Like I said that we would reloading this thing up at near 1775. Unfortunately, Ford comes all the way back down into that level, and I'm like sitting here already pretty much in the trade that I want. So we'll see here if it can come back up to the upside. We're not out of the money that much, but we are still out of the money here on Ford. Look at Citigroup, though. Citigroup is absolutely cratering. We took a nice little bid or short. We got out twice down here, and now our next bid is going to be, I'm going to put it at 58 flat or so. Let's go to 58. Let's go to like 58.10 on this name, and we'll just see if 58.10, I'll put the order in right now, how far this can go down. But Citigroup right now on the sticky note as a downgrade. And we were like, you know what? We saw the big move yesterday. It's exactly what we talked about here. This is what we wanted. So hopefully you guys are finding out, you know, that the sticky note is something to maybe look at. But there it is down to 58. It's just bouncing. Let's see how low we can get. I feel like we can get through 58 today on Citigroup. So that's really making move to the downside, which is helping my net. But Ford is not. So we're going to have to watch out for Ford right here. But Citigroup definitely working. Another bid here, 58.10. Let's go. Maybe we'll put one in the teens. This is a good trade for me.
Yeah, here comes Rivian. Remember 55.50? We talked about, look, it has to break this to be in breakout territory. Well, I got the short in front of it. I think there's at least $2 worth of upside, and by that I mean pulling back in. But if it goes, the gap is the other way. I'm not getting cute about it. It takes out that top. I'm out. I'm not averaging into it at that point. It's just we're in. If it breaks, I think it has a chance to get to 58 or 57 or 58. I'm actually on the bid in Citigroup in front of where you're getting your target. So when you celebrate, that's when I'm looking for that multi-day support level at 57.5 to go long in front of. A little bit of a check back here in Rivian. When it gets below 55, I'll start taking some off. Brendan?
Well, that didn't take long. Apparently, Rivian guy is going to backtrack, according to Electrek right now, on this price hike. Letter from the founder and CEO saying that, yeah, that was a bad idea, apparently. So back to the upside here for Rivian.
All right.
If you still have all the cost issues, that just means you're going to sell it at a lot. Like,
I don't know. I mean, now they're not upping the price, so now, yeah, like you said, now they're going to make less money. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I think it's a good move. But hey, guys, what we were talking about there, look at Citigroup, and we're just trying to be as specific as we can today. We only have a few names on here. Citigroup, Banks was a nice rally yesterday, short at 60 if you could get it, which you could have, and then watch out for the 58.50 breakdown, and that's exactly what we're short in right now for Citigroup as we just got a 58 bid. We got our 58.10 bid there to be exact. But so that's working out for us real nice. But the real problem here for me is this. Ford just continues to make a move to the downside. I don't know why this is happening today. I mean, it was a big move yesterday. It is now trying to take out this 1775 area, which we're right at right now for Ford. So we're right at yesterday's bottom. I think it's probably, I don't know. I mean, I can go one more here for sure, and see if we can take a bid. Well, there it is. It fills us so fast. We'll take another bid down here and just average into this. But it looks like it wants to take this out. We're going to have to be pretty careful at 1770 if it does take that out. So Ford right now trying to make a move back to the upside. Citigroup now bouncing a little bit. I'm not really sorry. I thought it was above 58.50, but it's not. So it's going to take down 58. And then, yeah, like what Neil was saying about if we can get a 57.80 bid, that'd be great. Right now for Citigroup off of a nice short. We're at 50 cents in the money on Citigroup and 10 cents out on Ford. So hopefully that'll come back up to the upside.
So I'll do this for the Rivian news. It's going to break that 55.50. That's a level I wanted to short anyways, but I'm not reversing into the long because I don't necessarily see that story as a gigantic positive. So like, it might fill in the gap. It's going to have to do so without me. I don't really see that as a huge positive. I just kind of feel like maybe it's a bit of a short-term squeeze going there. So that's how I'm going to play it. We can just get out of our short and then walk away. Indo bounces off. INDO bounces off of $20. Here at 23, we thought there'd be another test added. Looks like it has a chance to do that. I think it can be shorted off of that level. Why am I short charge point? I know why I'm short charge point, because I never actually took the long on charge point. And when it started to fall back in, I didn't get that first look on the bid at that 15 even, right? And that's where I wanted to see if it could play the bounce. It then took out the pre-market lows. What's going on here? Give me a second. Get out of that. It's like, no, get out of the short you didn't want first. Look, I think it might fill in the gap, but I'm still going to bid 14s here. But it was never part of the plan to really be shorting that level. I just anticipated going long 1480 and then having that tight stop. So that was why it was in, get out, pay spread or make spread, whatever happens when that goes. But the next level down that I want to be buying is that 14. So much like SoFi, it doesn't make that first leg. I wasn't looking for the rollover trade, given the short interest, given the good cue, given the good guide. I'm now looking for that $14 area to see if I can grab that long. So waiting around here on charge point, trying to be a little bit patient with this one. C3 AI, that went, I mean, give me a break. It continues to fall here. So I thought there was that wick off top that could be faded if it made another leg up. Unfortunately, it is only going in one direction, and that direction is down, heading away from any chances to catch this off the top. Citigroup is leveling off. I just like that. Anytime you have a very short-term bottom at a key level, a lot of times I just like throw away that price action and then play that level for support. I'm out in front of VWAP to take some out, and then the next cluster up is where I try to get out. But 57.5 was serious support on the daily chart going back 2 years, and it was below that for all of like an hour and a half yesterday. So I like it to still be support today. Brendan?
So more on that, Rivian, guys. They're saying anyone who ordered or did a pre-order pre-March 1st, they're going to automatically be put back to the original pricing, which as of yesterday went up 20%, but no longer for Rivian.
I should have still stayed with that trade. I mean, unfortunately, I was too much into Ford, but I like Rivian, and I should have stayed in it. I heard the news. I mean, there's exactly the sticky note level of 56. And remember, I said 55.80 we were waiting at. Like, unfortunately, we did hear that news and canceled that. So, but yeah, that 55.80 was real cash money there. No matter what happens with their pricing, it's still a negative space right now. The EV space has not been pretty hot. It's not been hot at all the last little while. So Rivian continues to get hit there, and obviously we should not have canceled that 55.80 short. So, what can we do on that one? We did get a Citigroup bid down here, which was a great one, 57.90 on Citigroup. We're almost out of this name, but it is moving back to the upside, which is pretty nice. I know Neil's, I think, still long this name. So
I got some out. I'm pennies away from getting it all out.
I really need this Ford to go, though, guys. We took some out at 86 and then some out at 88 or 89. But yeah, that's not good enough, man. I'm gonna hold this name. Let's just see if we can get back up to the upside here. Maybe another reload down there at 81 where we did the first time. But yeah, Ford's got to get going here. The futures are not helping this play out. I mean, the futures are straight to the downside here. So we were starting the day up nicely at 14.4. A nice little move down. Basically, no green candles in here of note. One right off the open, and other than that, man, straight to the downside. So I'm a little bit nervous about this Ford trade. As it's going back up, it's just sometimes you need the futures to help you out here. So Ford really not my favorite cup of tea here, and I don't know what Lucid's doing, but we'll have a check on that one as well. Down to 23. You see, damn it, Rivian. Holy shoot. You see where Rivian is right now? Unbelievable, 53. We had this stupid name dead to right, and I didn't do anything about it. At least Ford is back to flat.
Yeah, that's one of those. At least I didn't go long because I don't see that as good news. I rang the register on Citigroup. It gave that bounce. I think it can give another test of that level. Like, it's still a bit of a downward trend, so good chance it can get back to that support for a bit of a bounce there. But like I said, you give me a level like this on the daily chart, I'm just going to go back to it as support. It was a good break, and I think if it takes it again, it's still a multi-year support level. It can still be good. Oil made a bit of a rebound, and by a bit, it got close to 110. It didn't quite get there. I just got Chevron. I would not be short Chevron if we just broke in 110 on oil futures. That hasn't happened, and we said 155. I could have looked at Oxy. Maybe I should have looked at it in retrospect. Maybe that'll be the case. But it was Chevron that I liked at the 155 level. So I'm out in front of it right here. I got 54 3/4. If it gets back down to 54, and then VWAP will take some off, and then see if we can hold. I'll let the futures decide. If there's a big capitulation off 110, then maybe we're holding on to this a heck of a lot longer. But I'm just playing off those two levels simultaneously.
I'm so upset at Rivian. Like, I wish for once. Like, I wish Brendan just missed that story because
honestly, it would be nice to have not.
Wow,
50, it is what it is. The news was there.
No, it's fine. I mean, we're here to trade the news, so that is what that is, and we got to know the story, and it did affect the price of the stock. I mean, it was tanking, and then it ripped back up to the upside, and then back down in. So I feel like when I listen to this news, it's kind of like, it's just more confusing from management side of things. Like, do they even know what they're doing? Nope. I mean, and I think that's why it's come all the way to the downside. Like, all these changing of pricing policies and things like that, it just seems like such a dramatic move. And then today to scale it back. So it just lets me think that, the Rivian ownership is looking at stock price. And that's not, what you want to do. If they're going to make that move because they thought it was a legit thing to do, then they should have just done it and stuck with it and, pay the piper afterwards, because maybe that is what they need to do in order to make some profitability targets. But there goes Lucid to the downside. I almost feel like there's more here in the EV space today, because these names are really starting to crack lower on what? I don't know exactly. So we'll find out. Fisker as well, down that 3%, looking like a nice little bottom here at 1180. So, I think this is worth taking a long. We're long on, Ford came right back again, all the way to a 1796, putting us in the money on this trade all of a sudden. So let's wait to see if Ford can get going, but this is really where my attention is. We have shorted Citigroup again at the top here, 58.82 or so. Let's see if this comes back in. There is VWAP at 58.50. Maybe we'll put a bid there. That was really my area of concern. Short early, short again, out, and now we reloaded this short in Citigroup. So let's see if it tests that 58.50 again.
Did you just say reloaded?
I did.
You did. I don't have that one on my key, but I just reloaded IMPP at 49s. Now, I made the correction that 250 wasn't exactly the high. It's actually 53. So 253 is the high on IMPP. We're able to get some out in front of 230. I'll get a little more aggressive now that we've reloaded in front of 50s. VWAP sitting here. You got to take 10-cent winners on these things, especially when you're going counter trend. So going to get some bids down out in front of VWAP just in case we continue to hold 232. And remember this over and over again. Anytime one of these runners tries to break, holds that key level, and cannot take out pre-market and opening range support, that's 225, it sets up to be a long, right? So that's what we were thinking about yesterday or a couple of days ago. Actually, no, it was yesterday. And I'm going to be leaning back toward that same thing. As I watch Chevron at that 150, 155 level, it keeps trying to take it out. But we're at 109, right? Like, crude oil got to 110.5, pulled back. Now it's holding the 109. I am watching it pretty closely. If that were to take 110 and somehow this had not cracked this price area, I'd probably just cover it anyways. I don't want to be on the wrong side of the futures move. But, my only long is going to be Ford, which is, again, retesting that bottom. And I'm going to get back over to charge point to see if it's getting closer to my bid.
Yeah, we just hit that siren right now because we just got into CCL right now. So CCL, yuck. Here comes the market to the downside. Not good right now. As it looks like we're trying to break lower and lower and lower here, which is not going to be good for Ford or for CCL. And this is what happens like when you are trying to find some dips in a market that is weak. You are going to have some weak outputs here. So here we go. We know that it's going to be 1844 or so. So 1844 is where our price is going to go. It's actually 1850, was the area that we were looking at here for CCL. So if you see, it's just come back in. It's been a big tank to the downside right now. This market is showing no love. It's about to go red. I cannot believe we didn't get out of more of our Ford at the high side there. But again, what are we going to do about that? But right now, CCL, let's see if it holds this 1850. The real bottom is right here, 1860. So this could be a spot if you're interested in taking CCL right now against that 1850. That's what I'm going to try to do. So let's see here. Long CCL, short Citigroup, which is now paying. We just cashed out again on the reload to the short side. So Citigroup right now cashing in for us real nicely. My number one stock, it's the number one stock here today as well, net-wise. But Ford is the number one stock loss-wise here today as well. So we're going to have to wait for that to come in. Ford, maybe a reload, maybe not. The futures just keep on tanking. Let's see. If we're going to reload this, it's going to be down here at 1770. Nothing else, man. This stock needs to go.
Yeah, it really does. And IMPP took out the high, so the first short worked, the second one didn't. Now that it's broken the top, I'm not looking to short this level again. I'll be looking to go long off of that 225 support if it can get down there. I just feel, that's what worked in yesterday's action. I'm going to go back to that well. Citigroup, it did make the curl pretty much right at that dollar move off of that 58. So if it wants to trend back down, I think we're good to go with that same retracement level. CVX, it's still holding that 150, but keep in mind, oil's actually trying to tick back up to 110. So got to be careful with that. You have to be watching crude oil prices. I've been looking at C3AI, but I know Snowflake is also making a bit of a move. It got up to 235. And then is now pulled back $12. So big reversal in snow as you do have the market starting to come in a heck of a lot more heavily here. That's starting to look pretty juicy. That's one that this is flipped into maybe you got to think about the short here. I missed C3AI, but if Snowflake wants to make a retest of 230, 235, I wouldn't want to short it. It's an interesting looking chart for something that is going to be short sell restricted, but it's down 15%. So yes, big breakout, but this is SSR today because it gapped down a ton, quite frankly.
Rivian's 52-week low is 50 flat, yeah, embarrassing. I'm not even going to show the sticky note anymore because of that short that we had pegged up to the upside right now on that one. Look at CCL. Let's go CCL right now. We're going to see it fire off some cannons for this one. It does go long 1870. We just took some out at 1878 there as it made a move up. You can see the ticker 77, sorry. So that was 7 cents, but hey, it's better than nothing. Let's see if we get it back up to the upside. And remember, Neil and I are going to trade differently than you guys. And if you're going to be scalpers like us, then that's great. I am going to try to hold, like I'm saying, this Ford trade for a little bit longer. And I still think CCL can get going back up to the upside, like a 19 or so on this one is something that I'm looking at. My next offer, though, is 1890 to try to get some out here for CCL. That's right where we are dumping off. Maybe I'm going to put an 1885, actually, on CCL as I look to see that makes a little more sense there. 1885 or so. We'll take some pieces out if we get up to there. So about 80s, 85s, and then we'll see if we can get back up to 19 or so here on CCL. I like it. Remember, we had that bottom here, 1860 the last couple days, so we're going to try to see if we can respect that. Ford, come on, baby. You were just going, and then you stopped again. So Ford needs to work its way back up to the upside, man. Keep stopping at 90 and 95. Next time it's up to 95, we're flat on the trade, but we need it to go there first. So CCL, come on, buddy. You can do it. Ford, CCL, and Citigroup, my three trades. Brendo.
Mining stocks catching a bit here again this morning, guys. GSM, they reported Ferroglobe better than expected results here. Back to 850, just broke to the upside, so 20% on huge volume for GSM today.
And, well, obviously huge volume on INDO, which just spiked to 25, did a bit of a pullback there. So it looks like it's made the first run at a significant level. Like I said, halts, 25, 30, 35, like that kind of a thing if you're going to look for any shorts in this name because the float is so ridiculously small I just don't think you want to get too caught off base here. That's why I like this 25. One pop in, and if it tries to break it with a bit of a double top, that's when I'll try to jump into the short. Oil again is pulled back. It's not moving off 109 and change, so I don't think CVX is going to do much. It'll just sit there flat. If we roll down, I think we got a good price. Nothing to do unless we break 110 or it hits my target. It's only about 30 cents in the money. I want more on that, but I'm glued to INDO here, just in case it tries to make one more spike up and I can fade it off the 25 level.
So Citigroup, again, guys, let's just go on this one, man. Those were some good ideas here today for me on C. What just happened to Snowflake? We went short, and it just ripped up there. Okay, that was strange. We just lost on that trade, but we want to get Snowflake short again right now. It just ripped up. It's just we're not using huge size, so it wasn't like a huge hit, but yeah, it did just go to the upside there, and we're going to try to get some more short here on Snowflake. The problem is you got to cross. Okay, there we are. The problem is you got to cross these markets pretty good. So we'll see here if we can get it again. We are short Snowflake, watching out for that 226 area. If that breaks to the high side, then we're going to get out of Snowflake. So 226.50 or so. I mean, I don't know how far you have to cross up on this name, but we'll see right now. As Snowflake, we are into that name right now. Double the short, double your pleasure, double your fun right now against that 226 level for Snowflake. It's hard to see on here, but if I zoom it in right here, that's 226, 225.60 or so. So we've got to break that VWAP. We did take shorts and then out, but that was just a starter position, which is why I'm like, what? That just happened so fast. So let's see if Snowflake can retrace back down to the downside. No real targets on this. I mean, if you can take it back, it's just been ripping. Like I said, it was crazy to the downside, and I guess now some people trying to like reevaluate their positions, but maybe we can retest some of these lows. So let's see about a 217. I mean, I think if you can get 218 on this, that would be great, but we may just get stopped out again. If it takes out, here it goes, if it takes out that 220, I mean, if the futures go, it's great for us because we have Ford and we have CCL now, but Snowflake 226, we're looking at it, and here goes Citigroup again. Maybe it's turning around now, but let's see if we can get like a 58.10 or so bid here on Citigroup, which is my #1 stock here today. We're going to wait to see if this Snowflake goes down to that 217 area.
No doublemint gum? You said double your fruit. Double your pleasure, double your fun, yeah. Blah, 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 with doublemint gum.
Yeah, you know, it was doublemint.
What's the rest of,
I think that's about right.
There's a line I'm missing in the middle. Guys, help me. Everybody.
What was the green kind?
Double your pleasure, double your fun, something with doublemint. I know the commercial, man, is killing me, but while this is happening,
yeah, what is that?
So we're back at VWAP on CVX. I did get one leg out here at 54.10s or so. We're going to get another one out at VWAP. There was just a push up to 109.90 on oil futures, so I just want to make sure that we're banking some of that profit up there if we can. So take advantage of it while it's trying to make a strong move. We had a good level on CVX. I knew I'd look at Oxy and maybe regret it. So Oxy goes to 48, gives a full pullback to 47 here. So it gives you $1, which is relatively speaking a better move, right? Let's be honest about it, than CVX. But at CVX 155, I traded it yesterday. I knew the price level, and I liked it a little bit better. Whereas Oxy, I didn't have the same reads to the short side of the trade. So unfortunately, that's going to be the one for me. Well, it's a winning trade, so I can't really hate too much. You're going to go back over to, I mean, you're already covering Ford, but that line in the sand has been holding on Ford. I have not been scalping this trade. I got once in front of 18, I got once in front of 1780, and I've been playing the whole, this should be a bigger time frame style trade, because on a higher time frame, this is breaking out from these levels and looking to try to take out this. I'm trying to go long around this 18 price to then be playing it into 1850 for the break on the trend to the upside, instead of scalping it, which has actually been what this stock has been doing. So, a bit frustrating. I might have to get more aggressive, taking some out shallow and then maybe playing the range instead of thinking this is going to be that big breakout today in Ford when the market is looking weak.
Yeah, we'll take another bid here on Citigroup as it just looks like it wants to do nothing here for that trade, so we're going to wait on that. And we did get a better reload here, not a better one, but we did get a reload down here on Citigroup. It's not much of a reload, it's just more like an average in. We didn't get that much out up here at 77 like we should have, but maybe we shouldn't have. Let's see. This market right now is just tipsy. It looks like it wants to get keep going to the downside. Every time it tries to get bumped up here, it's still making higher lows. So, lower highs as you go here. So boom, boom, boom again. So hopefully this can turn out profitable for us. But right now, CCL long, Ford long, Snow short, Citigroup short. Citigroup, just cracked lower a little bit. We got another fill. Citigroup now 58.30. Brendan.
Costco, guys, it's been a bit of a trend this earnings season. Stocks getting bought up into reports. Costco, as we said, aftermarket tonight, having a decent day here, just touched day highs on decent volume for COST.
Like, I already know what's going to happen. I'm going to get happy about CVX here for that winner. And then I'm going to pull up Kroger, and I bet you that long was pretty good. We'll see in a quick second here. But, yeah, there was just a reference, like, you should have done everybody in the club getting tipsy.
Yep.
Like, where was that one? You just
get tips.
Got to do it. Yeah, KR, it was a strong report. I wanted 50s. Candidly, and now that I've done that with the NZ, it's probably not going to load. I'm going to assume it's made a run up. Are any one of these going to load? No, I have to wait for it to count down here. I'll get to Kroger in a second. You see the chart when you do that NZ thing. Just too fast on the keys sometimes. But overall, the futures have made a hard right turn. After looking like we were breaking out, this is the NASDAQ, by the way, looking like we were breaking out, you're getting a bit of a reverse. But guess what? It's going to be right into support. You have the futures trying to break 4,400. You know what's hilarious? I actually messaged Arun before we came on this morning. And I was like, so, are we breaking this 4,400 to 4,420 and going to get a rally past that level? And he's like, what, you calling that? And I'm like, me call that? I'm asking you, man. You're the futures guy. But that's exactly what we're testing right now. So I think you actually have to break past this on the ES to get any real fall through. It kind of went parabolic on that Iran news into that number, and now you're trying to break past. Let's see where we can find some support. Unfortunately, I only have Ford long. I'll be kicking myself over AMD if this one rallies from here, but I think I got too far out in. Now there's Kroger. Yeah, of course, Kroger's only straight up, right? I got too far out in front of AMD at that support level, so we took our first in, we took our stop, and this is going to be a key thing for me. A lot of times if I like the long, I'll just keep doing it over and over again, but when in doubt, zoom out. That 16 level, this is where we really truly broke out and held afternoon support. I think that's where, if we can consolidate here as the futures try to pull that dip, this is where I should really be trying that long and shouldn't have even messed with the pre-market lows. That didn't work yesterday on SoFi. It didn't work on ChargePoint today. Go back to your real support levels where the buying came into it. Brendan? Oh, happened.
I believe so.
Hey guys, 10 o'clock. That's not the right camera. Why don't we go back to you guys?
Oh, wow. He's like, Tony's focused, man. I want to know what he's trading over there because the headphones are on. He's on camera. Usually Tony wants to give you a look when he comes on.
He's focused.
He's focused. Tony's been trading live as well, you guys know, on the show. But when I said AMD there in front of 116, that doesn't mean just buying it up here. No, it means buying it only off the consolidation. I already made the mistake once of getting too far out in front of it and not being patient. Being patient is the reason why CVX is one. Not being patient enough is probably why Ford isn't necessarily going for me. And by the way, if you don't like the show, I don't know what to tell you, but if you look at Citigroup, which I know has been good for both Sean and I, one long off support, the other one short off of resistance. It doesn't it works in both directions when you're trading the range, right? So it's giving it to you in each direction here today. The key is understanding those levels, and the key is making sure you do eventually get to Brennan for happening now.
Take two. Let's try this again. ISM Services PMI number just out, guys. Actually a little bit lower than expected there. So watch the futures after 10 o'clock. That's the look at positive markets so far. Nice numbers we're holding at this point. A few things we were discussing in the pre-market here. Tesla, one of those, back to the downside. Their Berlin Gigafactory officially going to be approved today. So worth a note for Tesla. Banks trying to bounce here back to the upside, but we're under pressure on a couple of downgrades in the early going. And Kroger, all-time highs off of earnings today for KR, guys. Back over to you.
Man, I'm so peed off about Snowflake right now. Snowflake just went down to that 222 area, and we were making everything back. We've taken 2 trades on this, and we got stopped out. Now we're going to get stopped out. Come on. I was waiting at 220 here, but it's bounced here. It's bounced off of this 222 a couple times, and I was like, if it breaks it, then we probably get to 220, but it didn't break it. It went to 221, like 222, basically flat on there, and like now it's just bouncing around. This spread, like I'm pretty nervous about this trade, honestly. We were able to get out of some more forward as it came back up through 90. We're just licking our wounds on some of these trades, but I'm going to put a bid now down here, and I'm actually bidding 222.05. So let's see if it comes back down. I think if it screams through this 50 period one more time, we may retest. That 222.05 might be a little bit. Let's go 222 like 30 or so. I know we're like, it shouldn't matter 25 cents on Snowflake. Like the spread is 40 cents, but let's just wait to see. Hopefully it comes back down here and we can get a tick because like I said, stopped out of that first trade right away, but then these averaged in is actually, you know, what we're looking at. So hopefully we don't take this out again, 227. Damn it. It's going to take it out. This sucks. Like I should not have even been in this trade in the first place, but it is barcoding. I do like it. I feel like I'm going to get taken out and then the thing's going to tank, which sucks. But, you know, that is what it is. Maybe if it comes back up to 230,
That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like we can reload it once it gets to a safer spot because right now you're just kind of playing with the futures. Like if the futures start to rip up here, which would be great for me. I mean, I'm long CCL. That's been a profitable name. We're long Ford, which is not profitable. But if the futures rip, then Snowflake might just take this out and just chill out up here, 230, which is where we would want the short anyways. So maybe it comes to the downside. Let's take out half. Honestly, if we could take $3 on half of this trade, then we'll do that. So Snowflake right now bidding 220 just to see where we go on that one. There goes Citigroup, by the way. What just happened? Bang on Citigroup. There it is. Let's spin this again. And like Neil said, both of us going different ways here. But there's a nice win for me on Citigroup, man. Like if I don't have this Citigroup trade today, then honestly, I'm like DOA on everything. Not on everything, but just because my Ford is so dead. But yeah, Citigroup today definitely paying it in. So nice. We like it thrice. 3 reloads there as we were reloaded on that one. And we go one more banger there for Citigroup. We'll see if it takes out this bottom. Again, no bids left on Citigroup. What's up, Miss V?
Hey guys, I know you're busy trading, so I want to real quick to remind you to smash the like button. All the Trader TV Live team, including Tony, will be really appreciative if you smash the like. Back to you guys.
Including Tony.
Especially Tony. And but SoFi has a bid at $11.
Oops.
I'm gonna do that scalp thing, like 2s and 3s in front of 11 and just see if I can get a scalp trade. You're gonna wonder why. I'm gonna show you this here and actually have a feature request I'm gonna talk to you about because I think Baxter could pull this off for me. But you're gonna wonder why, as Chevron is working here, that I just got out for only like a 60, 70 cent winner. Because this is oil futures breaking out past it. Like it tested 110, couldn't get halfway, and then now starting to break back out to the upside. So I'm just going to take the profit. And what I'm talking about is I wanted to stop. I had to do it manually, which by watching it, when it breaks out, just get out of my other trade. But why not be able to have a stop that when a futures level breaks, it kicks me out of my equity trade? So I think that would be, it's an easy thing to do with the API at Day Trade the World, but I'm sure Baxter could handle that. And actually, if you triggered long, that same setup, by the way, on CVX, if the futures took that top, if you took this long, you are now like instantly 70 cents in the money. That's the futures making the break high, and you just trigger long on something like a Chevron with a stop trigger. Someone asked where I'm getting long on AMD. I was about to tell you in front of 116. That's 116.15. You see me get that long. SoFi got the VO3. It then instantly took out 11, so I was in and out pretty quickly for a 4-cent hit there. But now I'm long in front of AMD. Oil retracing back to the upside, which does mean the future is coming back down. They'll try to hold green and aftermarket or overnight support on the ES 4390. That's what's trying to hold. If that doesn't, I don't think AMD holds here, but this is the level I should have been long in front of in the first place.
Look, I'm literally long like 80 times the shares on Ford, obviously, that I am on Snowflake. But there it is. We'll be happy with it. We'll go another banger for you there. You know, Snow, the Informer stock here, if you guys know anything about Snow, the greatest rapper of all time. Oh my God! I can't believe I just
That's
insulted.
Dylon.
I can't believe I just insulted Vanilla Ice like that. Okay, so here we go, guys. We just took it out. Yeah, Dylon. Yeah, he spits hot fire. But right down there, 222 there. We got that bid. So now we can hold out hope that maybe we have a winning trade here on that one. People funny they like that one. Blasphemy, says Mike Zed or Mick Zed there.
Obviously, he's joke. Come on, man. You guys don't seriously think he's calling Snow? Come on, son.
No.
Come on,
Ice I called the greatest of all time. Maybe Marky Mark. I mean, I don't know. I don't know some of these greatest rappers.
It's not getting better, bro.
No. Okay, so there goes Snowflake, and yeah, guys, look, hit the like button if you're not liking this content. I don't know if we can do it any better than this. There goes Citigroup though. Down goes Citigroup, down to $58, man. Great trade. And I said we liked it so nice, we hit it thrice. So there it is, 1, 2, 3 times there on the short. This is working for sure. The only stock, first of all, Citigroup broke, which was okay. We were able to get some out there, but again, we do lose. This will be a negative stock today as it does take down that 50, but again, we were able to take some out. The market just absolutely crashing here. So, and the stock, of course, that I'm short that I thought would have fallen out of favor, Snowflake, not doing that. So right now we are short Snowflake. And then Ford, look, we didn't get that bid down here at 75 because we didn't want it. We're already well invested into this name. I don't really want to put on any more shares. Hopefully Ford can flow back to the upside. This is a very, very dangerous trade, though. 1795, like yesterday's before we started going there. I think if we could break that again one more time, especially with VWAP coming through here and the 50 period, if we can break this and change trend, then yeah, like what the hell? We can get back up to the upside here. So pretty happy with how Ford's absorbing this trade, but still a negative name for me today. Not happy about it, but what are we going to do? We do have to look at that. Someone just said Roblox low of day. I really like Roblox, but oops, that's an NY stock. We screwed that one up. So we'll have to see. The chart won't load, but Roblox, $46. We'll let this chart load up. Ooh, yeah, wow, what big spank down there. I don't know if anything happened here in this market, but a lot of these beat down names, like the Kathy Wood, the high value names today. That's why I look at Fed, maybe Fed saying something here. What is DraftKings down to 22 again? DraftKings a dangerous. Now my Roblox chart wants to load. DraftKings, a very dangerous name to trade today because of the fact that it's investor day. So, Brendan, I don't know if you worked through that chart there. There was some nice fancy graphics and whatnot on that PowerPoint. Just wondering what's going on with DraftKings there today. But, seems like it wasn't a positive presentation as it was $24 and now you're all the way back down to 22. That is DKNG. And I cannot believe I'm short Snowflake, which apparently had a bad report and it's not doing anything. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here on DraftKings and it's just Tank City. Look at SoFi as well.
I'm just going to quickly show, do the same thing I did before with the futures, oil futures with the AMD chart, because I was looking at both the NASDAQ and the ES, but it looks better on the ES here to show you afternoon or after overnight support or resistance, I guess, around 43.90. Then we had a consolidation break there earlier. So if we're bouncing off this level, like one of the reasons why I'm going to let AMD take out that bottom, if it reestablishes it and can hold right when we're bouncing off of that 43.90 in the futures, and what essentially happens is if you're shorting AMD or any of those names when they broke those lows or stopped out, it relieves the pressure, and then the futures didn't go. Like they haven't followed through on that break. Similarly on the NASDAQ, it's just trying to turn red here, but 14.2 was held, 14.15, which is support. That little target area has managed to hold. So I don't want to be kicking up, that offers the wrong price. I don't want to be kicking the longs out unless the futures are taking those levels out. I just want to be a little bit more, I guess, patient with this level because I like the AMD a lot more down here. I'm going to kick myself over INDO because I think we did show you that 25 and then the consolidation at 24. This is it at $21. So that did give you the move. I never quite got into it. I was looking for one little spike above $24 and it just held here with 24 on a line and it never broke it once. I could have got out in front of it. I chose not to, and that's going to pay because that was a $3 move. Pretty clean. Brendo?
There was a ton, to say the least, of information in that DraftKings note if anyone took the time to look at it. Barron's, though, guys, with a nice little tidy summary for everyone. So I'm going to get that link over to Miss V and get that out to everyone if you don't want to work your way through all of that presentation. This kind of sums it up in a few sentences, which was nice for Barron's.
All right. I don't know, guys. I mean, like, I'm just resting on this Citigroup trade. Like, honestly, wow. We were 100% right on this one, guys. Like, this was a Citigroup trade that we had pinged on our sticky note. And if you'd welcome to the show, guys, I'm Sean, and I show this all the time. Banks, nice today, nice rally yesterday. They came with some downgrades today on Citigroup, right? And we just thought that it was a little overdone there. So we thought that the 60 short would have been pretty good. Watch the 58.50 breakdown. So right now you're at 57.80, or well, you were just a couple seconds ago. And that was a nice little breakdown move. We're going to just hold this to see how far it can go. I do note, obviously, that there was some areas down here. Whoops, I got to get on the right thing here. There it is. Of 50, what is this exact price? Is actually 57.80. So maybe we should have took some out. I'm going to look to see if we can get down to 57 again. So I'm just going to hold Citigroup as much as we can here. It sucks because, like, as the market breaks down here, we're in a $5 winner on Snowflake right now. $5 in the money on Snowflake, turning this name positive for us. As you can see, this has been a big move down here. Not a big move. It doesn't look that big when you're looking at the chart, but here it comes. We're short off the top. We did get blown out there, but then we re-engaged that short at that same level. So now it's back into the downside, and we still have a piece on. We still have half of this. It took our 222, which was perfect, and now you're battling that 220. I was really looking at this 217 area right here on Snowflake as the top in the pre-market. So if we take that down, man, I'm just hoping we can float down to 210 or so and see if we can get a real big win on this name. But like I said, though, it's kind of like my mood is fine. It's just like I really, like, I'd love to be celebrating that $5 winner on Snowflake and $1 now on Citigroup. As Citigroup taking down the low. The problem is I'm getting taken down right now on Ford on this play. So I really believe in this name. That's why I'm sticking with this. Nucor also makes 52-week high today at 140. So that's good. Good for U.S. Steel as well. I know Neil's on that.
Well, I shouldn't say that. I probably got filled. Remember saying I was going to sell some U.S. Steel in front of 30?
Yeah, that's good.
I probably got filled this morning. I put an order out yesterday. So well, we can check back in after. It's just AMD. I'm using the futures here, and they are trying to bounce off that 14.3 and the 43.9 and the 14.2, respectively, on the ES E-minis and the NASDAQ mini futures as well. So as long as it holds that line, and 115 is right there, that's about $1 worth of risk. So I like the risk on it, just maybe too far out in front of it. I'm not really taking anything out till it gets to 117. So I am looking to see if we can hold a bottom here. But INDO is really I don't want to chase this thing. I really do feel like it has a capitulation. If it breaks 20 even, that you could see 17 to 18 bucks. But the short off 25 feels like the safer play. And I'm not in a single short, which is frustrating. Like today's been one of those, for every one good trade, there's a losing trade. And but the only positive I will say is, we're sticking to the rules and we're not really holding on to things too far. And by the way, the level break on oil futures. Like, this is why I got out when oil made the breakout, consolidation break. That buy in Chevron, counter trend, if I just gone long, that's now $2. So, man, I need to code that or something because that was so obvious. It was basically, at that particular moment, all you had to do, it shouldn't be this easy, but all you had to do on CL was sort of watch it. It was on a higher time frame, sort of watch it break this on the 15-minute. Like, this is what it was doing on the 15-minute chart. It broke that. You go counter trend on Chevron, and it was a clean winner. It went straight to the upside. SoFi has reclaimed the $11 level, so it looks like a possible fail break on SoFi at $11. We love those ones where it goes only a few pennies and then can't seem to make fresh lows. If it can now reestablish 11, it could be worth a long if these futures can bounce. So SoFi back on the radar, guys.
I said, because today's menu, and this is going to be fine for you, but the first word you're not going to like, pineapple teriyaki chicken with sweet peppers and rice. Yeah, it could be fine.
You know what?
Pineapple teriyaki, I think that's a
I had this conversation with Tony the other day.
Decent combo.
Anytime something's really tasty, there's too much rice with it, which if it's flavorful,
you don't have to have the
you have
rice.
to take less rice so it doesn't kill the flavor. If you eat too much rice, the same thing with pasta, right? Like if you have a good pasta sauce and you have like 10 times a serving of pasta, well, you lose a little something.
On that note,
I like the
tomorrow's
rich
beef tortellini with bolognese. Okay, we'll see. We'll see. I'm not here tomorrow, by the way, and you'll have Trader Arun will be sitting here tomorrow, so we'll be able to see him, and then maybe some futures trading and whatnot. I know he still trades equity for us here when he comes on the show, so that's good. All right, Citigroup just bounces off that 57.80. We're holding a very small piece, guys. It is that famous 10% of mine that we're holding left now, but actually, it's actually 10% of the total position, but it's still 25% of this, 20% of this position. So we still have 20% of the original position on, but 10% in whole of all of these trades, because we put half on there, and another half there. So we had about 1.5 times our position that we wanted, and now we're holding on to 20% of that. So 10% of the whole position, 20% of the last load up. My math might be wrong there, but that is what it is. Okay, so back to Snowflake, not much happening. I wanted to look at AMD. My target area for AMD, whoa, it's right here. 114.50 on AMD. I know you were talking about this earlier, Neil. I don't know.
No, look, my support levels, I'll show you right here, because someone asked if I dumped it. I was looking not necessarily exactly at AMD, which broke 115. At the same time, 14.2 on the NASDAQ got taken out. So we took that key level out. The ES took out that 43.9 convincingly. And like I said, much like the Chevron trade, I was playing an equity name and then using the futures. If they broke support, that's no reason to hold on to it. By the way, I'm cleaning up some orders here, but I just canceled my Best Buy dip buy, because obviously that's not going to happen. This is really in breakout territory. Up 11%, and I kind of feel like we're missing out on this. You know, I can't chase it now. We're not getting any of the levels that we obviously wanted. Between 99 and 103 was the channel I liked. It didn't get there. You know, it came down to 105 and then has been only running. If it goes to 115, I'm going to go counter trend. The market's falling off enough here that it doesn't matter how much Best Buy is up. I think it's going to make a turn. You have one test at 113 here, so maybe there's a double top failure and then you can get a VWAP or trace. Otherwise, I'm going to look for that 115 level. This has now turned into enough of a reversal that you have to start looking for some names that are bucking the trend and should be coming back down to earth a little bit here.
Okay, Ford, I see you, Ford. This is what we're looking at, and I'm very close to getting that AMD. I'm actually bidding 114.50, and I didn't have any idea that we were that close to there. I was actually just going over there just for fun to see what we're at, and we're almost long this name. And just to give you guys an update of what we're trying to do on this, there's that 113 that we played off yesterday. If you see yesterday's ranges on AMD, I don't think my trades will be here, but we had this twice, man. We liked it a lot down here at these levels. This 50 level down here, 113.50 on AMD, so that's like the support that was held. So we can take a trade here. It's coming down to 114.50. I don't know, man. Maybe we have to take a little bit lower than that because we're just crashing down to the downside right now. Let's cancel that 114.50 and take it a little closer to 114 on AMD. I hope I don't Rivian myself here, meaning like cancel the better trade to look at something else. But 114 flat or so, we'll look for a better long as the market's coming right in. And the reason why I'm doing this is Ford has made a nice move back to the upside here, so we're very much licking the wound here on Ford. I still feel like it can break, but again, if the market fails, the last thing I want to be is a hella long Ford, which I am, and long AMD as well. So let's see if this can go to the upside Ford. We'll leave AMD for a better price down near 114. But over now at the big screen, we never want to make him wait. It's small cap recap, and this looks like it's that CAN stock. So we'll have a look over there with Brendo.
Canaan.
Hey guys, yet another choppy day for all of these small caps. You can see we gap up again on CAN, just chopping back and forth between 580, 590, and about 650. So it did give you a range either direction there. I did try the long initially. Goes all the way up to 690. I didn't take anything off. Comes all the way back through. Once it gets back below 620, which was support, I flipped that short. Going to use that against 650. So we'll see if we get a bit of a gap fill now down to where we were trading yesterday for CAN. Remember, there was a crypto tie to that one as well. So watch Bitcoin. Another one that looked pretty similar, CTIC. Could have taken the short versus the high as I did. Flipped that long, now moving back to the upside. It's been very strong the past couple of days, CTIC. So worth a look once again today for that one. I was going to talk about this ALF because I did see a volume spike early on this morning, but wasn't able to get above 204, 205, which was a bit of a pivot. And then the volume died off as well. So that's about it. Back over to you.
Thank you very much there, Brendan. So I'll go back to the wall one more time on Citigroup. I see you guys talking about, and that's that's that 57 change area below that 58, and see if we get a similar bounce. The second time through, it's never quite as good, so just go to keep that in mind. Anytime you play off a level the second time, especially counter trend, can't expect as big of a move. I say people talking about DWAC 100. I mean, it's obvious, but 102 yesterday was really the jam fest. I mean, it got up to that 102 level and did a hard reversal. So I'm looking to see if it breaks 100 again. Can't quite get to 102. That's the level I'd rather fade off of in front, because you've then trapped some 100 longs in addition to it. You might have trapped some already, but just feel a little bit more confident that you've trapped some of those longs if it gets a little bit closer to that 102. Support for me, I just didn't see it get down far enough for any support levels. And I've been looking to try some longs in this stock off of support, just didn't find it today. It's one of those where like the whipsaw actions has turned into, like I have like one long that wins and a short that loses, or then a short that wins and a long that loses. So it's been one of those, and I think going back to like the waiting for the key levels that I liked. So I'm back to thinking about where did I want charge point. Citigroup came back to my first buy, so that's why I'm into it. I keep doing the wrong thing for charge point, and then these charts always want to fade for me here. So unfortunately that's happening, but I am on the bid in charge point here, and I can't quickly show it to you on one of my other ones, but I am going to look for that $14 area. Tesla is getting pretty close to 850. That's where it has been able to check up a couple times. It sort of is worth noting. The last time, yesterday, it breached 850 a couple of times. It never really got more than about $4 or $5, maybe $6 once, and then you saw it reverse, and some of that was Powell. So I think you've got to give it some breathing room if it's going to try and make a bottom there. Obviously, fading off of that 885 is still good as the market reversed once again off those levels, and these charts are still a bit of a pain in the butt. Speaking of that, you've now broken down here. So the way I look at this, if I'm sitting in short trades that have worked, then you hold on to them when you get that break in the futures. If you're looking for long, they've got to be off your key levels, because we are now in an absolute jailbreak, failed breakout, and then a harsh reversal. It trapped longs off the top, and now everything is coming back into the downside. So unless you have something dead to rights on the shorts that you can hold, you better really like your support levels. And I go back to SoFi, if it even wants to give me this. SoFi, which, now it's charge point, you give me a break. After I go to SoFi, now it wants to give me my charge point chart, which is just an absolute pain in the butt. So I will go back to Citigroup and show you the level I like is one that is already sort of paid off. It's giving you that run back up to 59. So now if it can hold that same 57.80 bottom, you can rinse and repeat that same trade there, guys. So John's back, so he can show his charts, as my main ones decided they want to not cooperate.
On AMD, I got the mic. Mic's on. That was quick though. You almost caught me there. I knew my mic was on mute, and then you threw it pretty quick to me. So shout out to Lucas for catching that. Okay, here we go. AMD, we got the price that we wanted, and then it started to rip upside. So it's nice to come back here and see an absolute monster winner here for me, because we got two prices. So we got exactly what we waited for, this 114.20. Then we got a 114 bid. Now we'll see if it can go up to the upside. I'm just taking some out right now as it goes up. So here's AMD with a nice little win, trying to break out through this 114.60. Let's see if it goes back up to the upside. $4 winner on Snowflake, as that's still trying to make this bottom at 220. That's going to be a good one. Citigroup's $1 now in the money. Is that still going to the downside? Oh man, the shorts are just screaming right now. I hope that we can get this trade on AMD to work out for us. It's now 40 cents in the money and still going higher. 115 maybe. I just, what do we think about these futures? They're just tank city right now, and I'm wondering if they might want to touch. They're going to take another one out at 55. Just wondering if it wants to see 14,000. I don't know, 14. We're still 150 points away from that. Maybe we do have this long now pegged for us on AMD, but we're out of half now. We sat back down, we saw that, and we're like, we'll take that out, man. We took some out. That's a gift horse for sure. Like, you come back, we just reloaded our coffee. That's what happened there. So now we'll get out of some of this one. On AMD, we took a 33. Let's see, man. If this cracks lower through 114, we might as well just get out and then re-look at this. We only have 30% left, so actually scratch that. I'm going to hold the rest of this. We only have 30% left now. We got out of that for a nice little win to the upside. Really, the problem here is on another reload for Ford. Like, we took some out on the upside here, 84, 85, and then it's just crashing right now. So we can't win on these longs when this is what's happening. That's why it's a good thing we have $1 in the money on the Citigroup short and $4 in the money on the Snowflake short. short. So far so good on all of these. And there goes AMD right back to the highs where we just were of 114.50. Next offer 115 flat, and then we see what we can do from there.
And I remember I mentioned Best Buy. So it did put in a double top at 113. Kind of waiting for that to happen. So we just jumped in front of it here at 112.63. I'm going to tempt fate and try to pull up charge point again just to see what happens. So I'm in that short. I'll take the range for the first dollar and then see if it puts in that view op retracement. There you go. Thank you very much. Charge point. I had an accidental short that I didn't want that I could have held, but I didn't. That got a few pennies. But I've been waiting for 14s. And I think just being patient with this as it tries to retake or tries to reclaim some of what was support and then play the same break that happened late in the aftermarket. So I'm waiting for 14s. I think one more leg down in the futures or the overall market in this name in particular will get us in. But it's about being patient with some of these. And same thing with DWAC. So like I said, we waited for Best Buy to give us setup we want. One more test up at 100 is what I'm waiting for before I put a DWAC trade on. It's strong, trending, but you've seen almost every single day, this just gives up the ghost. Yesterday was a special case. I would expect not as big of a move. I don't think it's going 101 down to like 92 or anything like that, but at least half that on the retrace is certainly possible. That's just what it's been doing. So that means if you're long, always be thinking about where you want to take profit. And if you're not long and you want to trade it, then some of those shorts have been absolutely gorgeous when it makes too big of a top.
All right, here we go. So here we go. There goes AMD trying to retest this 114 again. Look at the futures, man. We just tested that high side. We're going to have to watch out for that. Snowflake, I'm just going to hold this. I still feel like we could break. We are short right now, Snowflake, 225.31. We talked about this in the pre-market, and then it just gave us the levels. I was actually thinking that we could break below this 212, but it did rip up, and just like our Coinbase trade, we waited for it to consolidate, but we missed it, so we had to take it off of this VWAP. It did break once there where we got out, so, it is a profitable name for us. Could be a hell of a lot more profitable if we didn't test that one time because we have all these shorts, but we did get out there. Now we're holding on to this trade. It is a winner for us, obviously, and Snowflake is a net positive name for me today. I just think it can go a lot more than this. So we're like channeling our inner Arun here and seeing if we can hold for just a little bit longer on this trade into this consolidation. If that's what we want, then we can be patient and wait for it. Again, 227 is going to be our out, but maybe I'm going to adjust this now to where VWAP is here on this name. So VWAP is actually at 224.50, so maybe 225 to the upside we'll hold it on for, but it is still right now a beautiful $5 winner. And by the way, dollar on Citigroup, 50 cents now on AMD, and then Ford is making its way back up, man. We're long now at 84 off of this reload. So like I'm sitting here saying to myself, why did we take those? But we know why we took these early positions. We were thinking that 18 was going to defend. It didn't. And then, I just so stupid because I zoomed out and I spent a lot of time on Ford right here, guys, on the chart in the pre-market talking about the 1775 area. So like realistically, I should be loaded up pretty good down here, which we are now. But if we just waited for it, then this would have just been a profitable day for us overall on the name. And now we have to let it try to float to the upside here. So we'll wait for that. But right now the market not participating, man, just keeps on making new bottoms. So until the NASDAQ goes or the S&P goes, I'm not even sure what to do except for just take out some of the blood here on Ford and stop the bleeding as much as we can.
I got an idea. Don't look gift horses in the mouth. I think like this, it's been that kind of day. Like I'll tell you, for every one winning trade, it's just the next one ends up a loser. But on a day like that, you stick to your levels, stick to the read, go back to the basics, and just if you stay disciplined that way you don't have like a big losing day when it isn't perfect for you. So I did just get Best Buy on that short. Like I said, the first channel we get out, I did take that profit, and now we're looking for that 110 or closer to VWAP. So just could go back, be very patient, make sure you have a good entry area because you're getting whipsawed around here in the futures, obviously. And if you're not holding something in the right direction, you don't want to be chasing moves or getting in too early or getting out too early. You can't do that. Just stick to your levels. That's what I'm going to do here with Citigroup and Best Buy as we send you guys to Brennan.
Happy to have coming up in 15 minutes, guys. Base Carbon, brand new listing on the NEO exchange here in Toronto, coming through in 15 minutes, as I said. Doing great work in the ESG space. Voluntary carbon markets we're going to talk about with them as well. So that's coming up in about 15 minutes. Don't miss that. In the meantime, let's get a check on how things over in Europe are doing. Miss V's watching what's going on over there.
Hey Brandon, European markets are trading lower today. Lufthansa Airlines is down more than 6% after saying that it couldn't provide a detailed outlook for 2022 due to the ongoing conflict and the pandemic. Back to you.
Yeah, big reversal again on North American markets, guys, this time back to the downside. Just went red on the S&P.
So, Dominic Familar, how many shares of TNXP do you have at Neil? I mean, I haven't traded it today. I don't own it. So I'm gonna assume that was just to bait me to look at it, right? Like that's what it was. You wanted me to pull it up, Dominic? I'm gonna pull it up for you. Look, I did check to make sure it was actually moving and done volume. It's up 65%. It's up 65%. It's at 150 million in volume. You're not going to bait me that easily. I did double check to make sure. We're not going to pull anything up or call it out if it's not really doing something. And a penny stock needs to be doing 100 mil for it to be of interest. So I have nothing into it. I can tell you right now, it's now on the radar. And chasing longs when something does this, nope, n'est pas. I don't do it. I never think about it. Once it's gone and you've missed any potential breakouts, you do not chase the move and buy at the top unless you want to be doing scalp trades. I'm just looking at this channel here, 35. It's a wide one, 35 to 45. So I think it would mean that anyone trying to take a shot at it short has to be patient and take 2 stabs at it at either one of those levels. So that's what I'll do. It's on the. I'm going to put it on my quote board now. But look, you can see what's there. That channel. That's a long consolidation that it had, which meant a lot of people probably trying to pick bottoms on a stock in that range, right? So when it gets back there, do you think there'll be some sellers? I do, and not just short sellers, but also people that are holding the bag. It's also on the way to that 50-cent mark, which is a bit of a psychological level as well. So if you got the long in the breakout, 35 is a great price to start thinking about taking some profit, or maybe just out in front of it, but that's where I'd be looking to activate the shorts. Best Buy, I was just talking about that one getting the, here we go, getting the first leg out. Once it breaks this 111.50 area here, I have a bid in front of 110, but as you can kind of see, like I know VWAP's down here, but this was the morning range top, 109.85, and then it kind of held 109.80 here. That's why I just want to be out in front of it. Like I'm anticipating this top that turned into like dip buy support will be my out. So I might move it by 10 or 15 cents as it gets to that price. I just want to make sure this is where I'm getting out. So I have a bid there right now to try and capture $2.50 on Best Buy. So hopefully that'll work out for me and be a winner. Citigroup, the second time through, it does not hold the floor. So I like that support level. It gives you the win the first time. The second time through, not nearly as good. The context of the market, obviously different here because, man, the market is just getting absolutely crushed, like the rug getting pulled. Maybe it's going to be that 14,000 again. We didn't hold the 14.2. The ES still has not taken this shelf out. So if this goes like 43.65 or so, you've got a big gap as well. The rug pull in the market, hold on to your shorts. Best Buy is a strong stock, so I'm going to take my profit target there, not necessarily fearing capitulation, not seeing capitulation. But if we take this level out on the ES, I might be canceling bids on Best Buy. I'm anticipating there'll be some bounce there, which is why I have a bid to currently take profit and then just get flat. Sometimes you put a premium on being flat so you can make your next read. I'm stealing that one from Greg. I like the way he says it. There's a premium on being flat in a choppy market. It means that you have that clear mind to assess things without actually thinking about your positions. And on a day where I'm going 1 win, 1 loss, I feel like it might be the right thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of the same way with all of this stuff here on what we're doing. And that is that just trying to, ooh, what happened to Snowflake there? Oh, it went up. Okay, so I was going to say we were going to get out of Snowflake if it took out that 223. So it did do that. So we got out of Snowflake there for a nice little win. That, I mean, it's not as good as it could have been. It was 250 there on the win for Snowflake. I just felt like if it did take out this VWAP, which was at, or sorry, the 50 period, which was at 222, we did want to get out. Maybe I should have waited for that 224, but we'll take the extra dollar there as it breaks back above. This is the first time it's really broken above that since this trend started to get formed to the downside again. So we'll take that on that break right there. I'll probably look back and not like that trade, but that is what we just did right there. So there goes Snowflake out at 223, just hoping that this market eventually wants to turn around. But yeah, no, it's not. Ford right now continuing its move to the downside right now. We did took one last trade here at 77, I believe. Yeah, it was a reload there at 77. It's not as bad, obviously, as it could have been because we were, getting out like all of these trades here. Like Basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like my last 5 longs were all out for profits, but at the same time, it's still an average price. So it's not great. They were all losing trades, but we were able to sort of, withstand it. But now the market is really starting to turn back down to the downside, which means probably Snowflake's still standing up here. So that's good. I know you went over Citigroup. I'm going to hold this one all the way to the bottom. I mean, this is that bottom 57.80, but it's just trying
that
to.
Daily level was 57.5.
Yeah. So I don't know. We're just going to wait on this. If the market collapses, I mean, Citigroup will go down, and then we'll be fine with it holding it. That little wick down there was 55. So I don't know, 56. Maybe we touch 56 again. WFC was a name that we also liked on the sell side here today. WFC is always a little more aggressive than Citigroup, I find, on the buys, but I'm not too familiar with it on the sells. The reason we chose Citigroup today was because of the downgrade, right? So they rallied huge off 56 yesterday, came up to 60 today. We hit that on the downgrade. Now the market's absolutely collapsing. So Snowflake down to 222, should have held it, and Ford we should have got out. So Ford, I guess 1750, sort of the next level of concern here for Ford, as it's just taking out some new lows here for the day on F. But what's up, Brendo?
Fed Chair Powell, it's worth noting, guys, continuing his testifying in front of Congress again today. He hasn't said anything that we haven't heard already, but the market not liking him testifying again today. I wanted to mention Splunk here as well, another cloud-based software name up on earnings. So big move up to 128, just coming back into 125, but pretty thin on this, but decent report for SPLK.
We had a question. Someone asked like about 27 million times in the chat in the afternoon, I think it was.
Yeah.
How many, like whether we thought we're still in a bear market or a bull. And part of the reason why I still think it's bear, even though you make some bottoms, you have good long opportunities when you have a good update, is like look at the rug pull today, right? Like the ES right back to that support. This is like, so I canceled my bid on Best Buy. But when you have these types of reactions, that kind of volatility, that's, to me, that's more bear market-ish when you have this kind of thing in this whipsaw. But this is where we're at on the ES. And look, if we take this out, then I think this is why I canceled my bid on Best Buy. If we take this out, then I can see the shorts that you have. It's just like hold on to your butts, right? But if we're able to hold that level and break back to the upside, I've got the cover of a double top on Best Buy. So it's worthwhile trying to eke a little bit more out of that trade. And as I say that, I'm sort of talking about how this is like a whipsaw day. And the read isn't always the best. So, like you get a long that worked in the morning and then a short that you didn't hold. So that's what it's been for me. Like Chevron will work and then Rivian will not. Well, Rivian's now at $50. So you got to put that in the back. Look, just forget about it. Like it's coming, it's gone. $50 is that all-time low. I don't think it broke it last time. I think it might have got very, very close without breaking. I'd have to double check the exact price, but either way, 50 is here on that bid, and it's all we can do is work off of it. Obviously, maybe there will be some size. I haven't really seen anything on the bid significantly, but that's a monstrous level. I'm usually at this time of day, always willing to scalp off a level like that to the long before considering a breakdown. That's what I'm going to do here, but there's no way. Like I wouldn't get cute with the long down here. If it breaks 50, I'd just be out. Rivian should be short sell restricted last time. I mean, should be after yesterday, but down another 6%. And at 50, all-time lows within spitting distance here in Rivian. I know.
And I can't believe, like, we only have 4 names on here, and one of them is Rivian short at that 56, where it actually went to. And then we have AMD on the sticky note right now watching 113.50. So, again, we did hold 30% of this trade. We talked about that. And now I think it's at a level where we can average in here again for AMD. But, hey, it's been a crazy day so far in the market. Like we said, it was rocking up about 1% when we started. Now we're down that 1%. So let's go over and see what sectors are popping off with Brendan at the big screen in Sector Watch.
Mixed forward to show you on that move back to the downside here. Once again, guys, lots of strength coming through in retail names. We talked about Kroger, they're up 10%. This is Best Buy up 10%. DLTR as well, 4.3%. TSCO even 1.9%. So overall consumer discretionary names going to be in the red, actually leading to the downside. But some of the retail names, as I mentioned, looking pretty positive so far. This is the tech group, if you're wondering down here. Software, semiconductors, and hardware equipment makers all in negative territory. I wanted to mention far corner over here, utility stocks having a nice day, showing some strength, relative strength anyways, about 1.5 to 1.7, 1.8% for these names here. Mosaic and BLL in the materials group. standing out there, positive almost 5% and 2.5% to the upside. That's Kroger I mentioned already, but some of the food-specific names here in the consumer staples consumer staples group, I should say, in positive territory, but very mixed right across the board. Otherwise, banks are weak once again overall. Travel names we talked about a little bit in the pre-market there. Some airlines back to the downside, being offset by individual positive names overall in the industrial sector, which in fact is about flat. There's Boeing, we mentioned quickly, they're now down 3%, guys. So back and forth we go for the market. Back over to you.
Yes, sir. And by the way, this ain't no hero trade in Rivian here. Right? You'll see me in at 50.19. Like the second it gets like to 1-to-1, which is like the mid 30s to 40, I'm taking the first leg out. This is a pure $50 is an even number and it's the all-time low. So I'm going to go a counter trend here. I don't think you do anything else. The market did break. The ES did break into that bottom end support range. It didn't take up 46.30, so it's sort of in the target area where it might be making that bounce. That's why I had to cancel that Best Buy. So hopefully, here we go. We get the first leg out in Rivian. So this, I think, it's the first time
cannot believe that stuff.
Since very early in the morning where I get 2 wins in a row. So it goes Best Buy to Rivian. It's basically been like literally flipping a coin each time. So we finally get a couple by being a little bit more patient. Next leg up here, I'll take some out at 50.75. If it wants to make, or in front of 50.75, if it wants to make a bigger move and get to VWAP, well, guess what? I'll have the last little bit on for that. We're going counter trend in the falling market here in literally one of the weakest stocks the last couple of days. Thinking that it's going to be a home run is not the approach that I want to have. I just talked about Best Buy, so I'll try to tempt fate here by calling it up. It's still holding VWAP and starting to consolidate. If the market, at a level where the market's consolidating too, off a key level on both the ES and, well, then the NASDAQ's just breaking down. So the NASDAQ's already broken down, but the ES probably matters more here to Best Buy. So if we can hold this, fair enough. Maybe I put a trail in at like 111. Now, if we break through 43.6, the only target I'll have on this stock is the pre-market channel of 105 to 107, somewhere in that range. I just don't see this. Unless something really bad happens, I don't see Best Buy breaking 105 at this point. So maybe it gives an extra $3 or $4, but I think it's worth it to risk that given how weak the market has looked if it continues lower. If you're holding a tech name, however, it's just that the NASDAQ it's just much worse, right? Like it's broken those support levels compared to what I'm talking about on the ES. But I'm in Best Buy, so I have to be concerned with the S&P a bit more.
Oh, man. Okay, so we shorted a 220 break on Snowflake, so we are back into the short, which is ridiculous because we were short up here at 225 and covered it at 222. And then now we're back into the short here for Snowflake. And unfortunately, it broke, and we got our worst price ever, 219.50. Like, we paid 50 cents down. That was really the most I was willing to pay, and we got it. So we got the worst price we could possibly get on Snowflake, but hopefully it comes back down into the downside now and it makes us a winner on this trade. But we'll wait to see. We're now flat on the trade as Snowflake, there it goes. I mean, it just touched it again, 219.50 before coming back in. I can't believe that price I got. That was just a horrible price there on Snowflake. So Rivian back down to $50. I'm going to trade the short as well, down through $50, but it looks like a good long off of that. It's just right now I'm long everything else, it seems like, including AMD and Ford. So we'll play a Rivian short if it takes down $50 right now on that one. Other than that, man, I mean, we're dug in now a little bit more to AMD. We'll take another bid down here near 113 flat and then use that 112.80 level that we talked about from the other day's short. And I got to go find it, but it was 2 days ago's bottom there, 112.80. So that's going to be my out if we are wrong on this bad boy, AMD. But right now, Brendan's got something. What's up?
We are happy to have a brand new listing on the NEO exchange with us today, as promised. Base Carbon, which is providing capital, development expertise, and management operating resources in the ESG and voluntary carbon markets. Michael Costa is CEO and director of the company, is joining us on the show for the very first time. Thanks for doing this, Michael. Welcome. Congratulations, first of all. Big day for the company. It's an interesting space to be in this time. Tell us a little bit about Base Carbon overall.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for having us. In a nutshell, Base Carbon's a pretty simple company. As you mentioned, we're capital allocators to the upstream voluntary carbon markets. So a lot of your listeners and viewers will be familiar with the compliance markets, things like cap and trade or EU ETS. But the voluntary market is really driven by the net zero commitments that companies are making, and we see increasing all the time. So we use our capital and we use our expertise in carbon to fundamentally finance these projects, work with our partners, and develop voluntary credits that the structural shorts in carbon, carbon emitters, and people who want to reduce their carbon footprint, will use to offset their carbon policies.
Chains in general has been such a popular topic and hot topic, and as it should be going forward here. Talk a little bit about some of the efforts the company is making to improve some of these issues we've seen over the past few years going forward. And as far as competitive advantages go, what is Base Carbon's most competitive advantage in this space?
Yeah, moat is always a great question. Fundamentally, I think that there's three prongs to the stool that really derive a moat in our business. Number one, it's our team and our experience. There's nothing that we haven't done before. We haven't done, we've underwritten and developed carbon projects. We've managed money and managed large portfolios of capital. And fundamentally, this is a portfolio approach to projects. And we've run public companies, we've governed public companies. So to put it in a nutshell, we have 80 plus years of money management experience. We've developed over 40 discrete carbon projects, have 40 years of carbon experience, and have more than 13 discrete C-suite roles and board of director roles. So there's nothing that we're doing that we haven't done before, but it's a new industry for financial markets and public markets, which is the nuance and the twist of what we're doing here.
As we said, brand new listing on the NEO Exchange today via reverse acquisition transaction. Tell the viewers a little bit about how this deal came together and what do we need to know about this specifically?
Yeah, thank you. Fundamentally, the RTO is a mechanism in Canada to come public without raising money around your go public event. So we raised $50 million in a brokered deal, co-led by the Bank of Montreal and Raymond James back in the fall, and we're using that capital into our projects. And to your question about how this business came about, it was really our significant shareholder is a company called Abex Technologies, which a lot of your viewers may be familiar with. They're commercializing a liquid natural gas exchange in Singapore, and they're a public company traded on the NEO as well. But Abex, we made the decision that this was a public company, both because the duration of capital required and the cost of capital vis-a-vis an exchange. And lo and behold, 6 to 12 months later, we have Base Carbon as a public company, and we're driving forward on that plan.
Michael, you mentioned a relatively new space as far as offerings go. Let's talk a little bit about scalability here. What does the scale look like currently for the company, and where do we see this going over the next, say, 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, absolutely. To give a backdrop in terms of the newness, what's new is the financialization, the public market aspect of voluntary carbon. Voluntary carbon markets have been around for 20 years. So the novelty to investors is really the ability to access these investments in a public stock. To put the marketplace in context, the voluntary carbon market's about sub $1 billion right now, give or take. It's expected to grow to about $25 billion by 2030. So to put that in context, that's about growing half of the nickel market, the global nickel market, in 8 years. So the growth is dramatic. And the ability for investors to get access to this kind of investment offering through public markets are scant. There's effectively one other pure play like us in the marketplace. And so we see a real opportunity to access capital and to give investors a real opportunity to gain exposure to this growing and really important and fundamental part of the ESG economy that's developing within voluntary carbon.
And lots to come in this space, I feel, going forward. So great opportunity, early days, as we said. Michael Costa, CEO and Director of Base Carbon. Guys, check them out, BCBN. As we said, new listing here on the NEO Exchange in Toronto. Thanks for doing this, Michael. We look forward to it.
Thank you so much for spending time this morning.
Have a great day.
Cheers.
That is Base Carbon, guys.
Yeah, a new listing on the NEO Exchange. I'll pull it up. Actually, it's going to do, well, it'll get to 1 million shares. It's like 900,000 in volume already here today, so it's trading nicely. NEO Exchange over here in Toronto, Canada. If you guys are tuning in for the first time, then maybe you don't know that our trading flow in the show is based in Toronto. We had some viewers come through that were visiting. It was a lot of fun to ring the bell, which won't be happening in 9 minutes because we go all day long. We go from Sean and myself, Trader Pratt and Ms. V will be on in about 9 minutes. But a couple of things I want to go over. I put the target in for Best Buy. But I also mentioned to you guys that the futures, and I'm going to do this because it's just so much easier to show sometimes side by side. This is the ES trying to hold the retracement level, this key level that I had in here at 43.6. So this is the channel. It breaks that support, but there was this dip into 43.6. So it got into the channel. If it bounces here and tries to, it's not bouncing, so my short's not going to work, but if it bounces here and tries to get back to 70s, I want to make sure I'm getting out on Best Buy. But this is why we canceled the bid, because just accept the fact that the market's falling, take out your longs or only hold them if they're at key levels, 50 on Rivian here. But if we break down, then I think we've got a lot of room. So I'm holding on to that Best Buy short for a little bit more. Like I said, I think we can get down into that 105 to 107 channel where I would look to take profit. I waited all morning and then just now I'm getting NCLH. In front of, like, this is crazy, right? I was sort of waiting for this dip, like out in front of the weekly bottom at 18.20. So you better really like the level if you're going long in this range, but maybe the ES can make that bounce off 14.36, and that would give some wins. Before we move on, I just realized that I failed to do something which I should not have failed to do, so I'm going to rectify that now. I mentioned to you guys that I was getting the new whip, and I talked about needing to get out of here really quick to get to the dealership. But I'll show it to you. It's the end of an era, because Sean knows this, that it's true. One of the first things, outside of this watch that I wear every single day that I trade, like when I first made it as a trader, the first two things I did is like, well, I got this watch, and which I still wear every single day that I trade, and I got my first car that wasn't the car that I bought off my dad. And it was my old Beamer, and it's out with the old and in with the new. So I did pick it up, and shout out to Audie Mavis, and I had a good experience with it. But yesterday was an absolute gong show of fun. Right? It was wild. We get our first guys through. We're talking to them aftermarket, and then I'm rushing home because I wanted to get to the dealership because the salesman that was waiting for me, he's got a brand new 1-year-old baby. He's like, yeah, you know, I would normally never want to rush you. What time can you get in? But I want to get home to my daughter. And I was just like, oh my goodness, man, let's do this as fast as we can, because I totally get that. Like, you have a newborn, you want to spend every single waking moment. So that was really, really cool. Awesome experience. I can't actually wait to get on the road with it. Need to put some winters on it because this is Canada. But that, neither here nor there, guys. But
I wouldn't put winters now. It's March 3rd. I don't think there's any more snow coming. I would just drive that thing on crazy right now.
Look, man, you know my line, principle is priceless. Yeah, okay. I'm going to get them anyways. So,
You're going to get them, for next year.
Yeah, I'm going to get them anyways, but you know me. And plus, too, like the wife drives it sometimes. I'm a bit of a safety net when it comes to that kind of a thing. But yeah, make sure you're holding on to your shorts if you got them. And then those longs, you better have had that key level. The ES is really testing that 14.3. I'm actually curious what Arun's thoughts are about it here. But I got NCLH off this bottom. 18.20 was the level on the 15-minute there. So same thing as Rivian, no hero trade. If it gets back to this cluster 18.50, we can scalp it 1-to-1 and then try to hold into VWAP for like an 18.75 level. But this finally came to the price we wanted. It only took an hour and a half for it to get there.
It will snow on the first day of spring now.
It always does, man.
It snowed on. I remember the Blue Jays had the very first Blue Jay game ever.
Doug Alt, 2 home runs.
Yeah, it was snowing that day. So
shout out Doug Alt.
Shout out to Doug Alt. Yeah, but no.
He hit 11 on the year. Like, imagine going to the first game being like, "Yo, this new Blue Jay that no one's heard of because they got him in an expansion draft hits 2 bombs on opening day." And then no one's ever heard of the guy. No. You probably never will again, but he's a Blue Jays hero.
Even not right now, people are like, who are you talking about? Okay, so who? Mike Jones? Who?
Mike Jones.
Okay, so yeah, you guys are right, man. AMD just continues to fall down here. We will turn what was a positive name into a negative one right now as we break back down below this 112.80. I'm not going to hold it much more than that, man. I mean, the market is absolutely crashing right now, and it looks like it wants to take that 14,000 that we talked about. So we're long Ford and long AMD, both not working out. Short Snowflake. Snowflake's going to be a huge trade for me. Citigroup still a huge trade for me. That's $1.55 now in the money on Citigroup. But ultimately, AMD, losing the 70 cents here sucks. So, like as much as we're holding these shorts, the shorts, some of these longs are crushing us. So, this market doesn't want to go up today. That seems pretty obvious. And here we are, long AMD. Looks like we'll take a 70-cent hit right now once it breaks through this 112.80, 2 days ago's closing number. So here it goes, right down to the downside, AMD. Brendo?
Helping things much today, guys, as we saw yesterday, complete reversal of what happened basically yesterday. Let's get you caught up on what's to come tonight. As we said, we're getting through to the end of our earnings season essentially, but still a few notable names for aftermarket and tomorrow morning.
Who are those two? No, so it's weird because the one that I actually care the most about is going to be Marvell. What happened to Ambarella scares the living crap out of me for Marvell, but we'll be looking. If there's a big enough dip, like if it pulls an Ambarella, I'll actually buy that one on the dip. If it pulls, Ambarella went down 30%. It's a smaller chip name, but that's one I'll be watching. Broadcom's a bigger name. And then after what we've seen here with retail has been pretty hot fire when it makes a big bounce. So Gap and Costco worth watching. And someone asked in the chat, why is Best Buy's quarter wasn't, like it was mixed and not that great? Why was it up? I answered in the chat, I'll answer it here too. Yeah, you know, they sprinkled a little dividend increase and a buyback on those numbers. And when you do that, the magic thing where the share price goes up tends to happen, and that's what happened with Best Buy. Like you throw in a solid dividend, increase the dividend, throw a buyback in there. When people have, I think, admittedly been looking to get into some of those retail names on the dip. I mean, Target's chart looks like this. Been a lot of names that just got to prices where people want to do some buying, and hey, guess what? Like it pays a div, and some people think it's a good long-term hold. So when you do those two things, it ends up appealing to that segment of the market looking to rotate. I think that's pretty much what you've seen here in Best Buy. Rivian, it was good for a little bit. That long off of 50, but like anything going counter trend, I have now reloaded it. It gave me a decent move in here to 50-50s, and now it'll probably just break it. I see 250,000 shares on the bid. I'm not sure that matters when it's done 15 million, but it does matter that we get to Miss V to find out the national day.
Hey guys, it's a busy trading morning so far. Hope you're all doing great, and please join Prad and me right after to continue trading. And by the way, before you leave, please make sure you like this video, because we literally need just 100 more likes to get to 2,000. We'll see you later, and happy National Mulled Wine Day, everyone.
Mulled wine?
Yeah,
yeah, I know you like it. I'm not a big fan. The wife really likes it, but so I can't say much. It's because, you know what, I don't really like cinnamon. You know, and then there's the cinnamon stick in there, so kind of turned off to begin with. I like it in baking a little bit. I just don't like it. Like, if you could sprinkle something on top, it wouldn't be cinnamon. Like, I know you can put it on cappuccino.
I'm a little
like that.
So you really don't like cinnamon at all?
I like it.
Like on French toast.
Oh, that's fine. Like, I'm just saying I don't like excessive cinnamon. Like, it's just it's a spice that's not my favorite. Like, you know what I don't like? I don't really like those little candied hearts. You know, those cinnamon hearts. I know, like I'll have one or two of them, but some people just wow like that. I don't know. Or
I did not know this, by the way. I've known Sean for a long time. Cinnamon is like
what is the cinnamon gum?
Cinnamon over sugar. Like if you're baking or just adding a sweetener. Cinnamon, man. I've even done the cinnamon challenge. I shouldn't have said that. Don't do the cinnamon challenge or the cocoa challenge. That's incredibly dangerous.
No, I didn't try the cinnamon. Someone said I'm traumatized from that. No, I know the result. The funny thing is, no funnier was that Prad. Remember, we were going to do the cinnamon thing with Prad because he felt like he could do it no problem.
Prad thinks a lot of things sometimes. You did?
Yeah,
you did say that, Prad. Okay. He said he'd do it. We're like, don't do it because it is actually dangerous to do it, and I understand people do crazy things when they're in university.
Oh, you know what it was?
But
no, he was talking cinnamon, and I think it was the saltine crackers.
Oh, that's easy.
I think that's maybe what it was.
I can crush that challenge. It's so easy.
We did get out of a little bit of AMD there. For some reason, AMD's ripped to 113, which they gave us an out because we averaged in at 112.70 there. But now it's going to break. We're going to be out right now on this break of 112.40. So the bleeding is not stopping here in the NASDAQ. So too far, too fast here. And there we go. We get out of our AMD. So we'll flush ourselves down the toilet. And obviously, it's going to be a negative name here for me on AMD. We tried it again and got it out. We'll see, though. Now, of course, the market's going to rip up. We're still holding a small piece of it, but we had to get out of the majority there as AMD just keeps on. Look at this. Look at this fall, like just crazy. Down 5% today. Man, we didn't think that was going to happen. But and then in the other trade here that we're worried about as well is going to be Ford, which has just ticked all the way to the downside. Not as bad as it could have been, but we are in a full position now. So we just sit here at mercy of the market. Get out. We'll probably get out of half on a 50 break, and then we are noticing here. Let me just go over a 20-minute chart. Like it depends on what your time frames are, but Ford right into here, 1740, I was thinking might be the last straw to hold. So I don't know, man. Ford, I thought up 8% yesterday, 9%, that it would work today, but it hasn't. So today, unfortunately, we've sat in this Ford trade all morning. Good thing we have Snowflake. That's been a big winner for us and continues to be it, and that's about it. So we shorted Snowflake all day, and now it's at the very bottom where we liked it, 216. So there's another short for us. We should still be short up there. But hey, Snowflake's been a good winner for us, as is Citigroup, still $1.55 in the money. Just should have held all the shorts today, man.
Yeah, I'm going to put a trail in on this Best Buy, but I don't have locates on TNXP, Dominic, and I said I was not joining the long because I showed you that channel, 35. It just put the turn in at 36, but I got to go pay for shorts. We didn't have them. It's well past 11 o'clock. It's been a fun morning. It's been a whipsaw action in the futures, but at least there's been some good levels to dig into. Like Citigroup gave you both directions. Holding the short is clearly the best way to go. And then hold on to your shorts. Like you've seen what's happened with this reversal with Powell. So sometimes you just got to let the winners ride and cut those losers off. As I say all that, let's go over to Trader Pratt and Miss V. Go kill him.
Hey, yo, it is time for Market Movers. It is, March 3rd, Thursday. Time to have some fun with the markets. Miss V's here.
Hey guys, welcome back everyone. Please, as usual, be active on the chat, ask us anything, and go long on the like button even though markets are down. So Prat, what do you trade today? How's your day going?
You know, pretty much going to my go-to setups. Not much besides that. Looks like, you know, obviously we're going to have to start looking at other stocks here for the show.
Right.
So we'll get started. Have you been looking at anything that for the show so far?
Yes, I was shorting Tesla for the second straight day. We can talk about this later, and I'll show you my trade, guys.